We weren't on Monday, so everything's been kind of thrown askew. But we are with you tonight, 3 hours. I've got a lot to talk about. I got a lot of things to say. And we'll be saying them over the next 3 hours. Flanked by producer, engineer extraordinaire, the one and only Charles Carter. And boy wonder himself, the Prince of Picks, Sam Yarnell. I am Jason Page. It is a light night in baseball tonight. Light night. Light day. Only 4 games. Yes, Charles. Batman, Robin, and Alfred. You can be Alfred. You could be Batwoman if you want, or Batgirl. You could be like, remember what's her name? Alicia Silverstone when she played. Oh, it's the worst thing ever when she played Batgirl. If you've never seen it, I am so sorry. Actually, I'm so happy for you if you've never seen it. Chris O'Donnell was Robin. I think George Clooney was the Batman in that one. And Alicia Silverstone was Batgirl. And Mr. Freeze, that was the one with Mr. Freeze being Arnold Schwarzenegger. How about the chill? He goes, everybody chill. And then he freezes everybody. Yeah. Oh, it was great. Yeah. Sam, did you ever see that Batman?
No.
Of course not. Of course not. You weren't even born when it came out, probably. That's
probably correct.
Can we find out what year that was? Now I'm sitting there wondering what year was that Batman? Well, Sam's 22. He'll be 2000. He's a 2000 baby. No, he's a 2000 baby.
Yep.
Yeah, he's a Gen Zer. He's almost a Gen Alpha.
Oh.
Yeah. Oh, shut up, both of you. Just both of you.
What does that even mean?
What, Gen Z or Gen Alpha, all that stuff?
Yeah, any of it.
It's based on what year you're born, what generation you're born. God, Tommy Lee Jones looks awful these days. Batman Forever, which is the one with Alicia Silverstone. Oh, Uma Thurman was Poison Ivy in that one too. I forgot about that. That was 1995. Also known as the year I graduated high school. Wow.
There it is. I
just want to turn off. I just want to shut down the whole show right now and throw it to Veasan. That is so thoroughly depressing for me to think about. I just want to shut it all down. Shut it all down. Where's John Taffer? Shut it down. I just want to shut it all down.
Oh, pull the plug.
I really do.
Tomorrow.
I really do. And Bane, not the Bane played by Hardy, the hell's his name? The guy who plays Bane in the Batman movie. It's not him.
Sure.
It's a different Bane in this Batman movie. Oh, man. Jim Carrey was the Riddler. Man, oh, man. It was bad. It was really bad. Was that Batman Forever? I think it was. I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, it's fine. Anyway, a lot to do over the next 3 hours tonight on the show. Coming up in about 10 minutes, Sam Yarnell with some news you can use from the sports betting and fantasy and pick'ems world, which we do every night now on the show. In the second segment of each hour, guaranteeing that you're going to get something you need, news you can use when it comes to sports betting stuff. I wanted to start out the show tonight with some thoughts on Jim Harbaugh, because there's always a Jim Harbaugh story. There's always Jim Harbaugh news. And maybe some of this is the media having an infatuation with him. Maybe some of it, though, is also just Jim Harbaugh doing Jim Harbaugh things. On Get Up on Thursday, analyst Peter Burns made an interesting prediction. He thinks that this could be Harbaugh's last year. Every year could be Jim Harbaugh's last year in Ann Arbor. Every year could be, because there's always going to be interest from the NFL. And now, in this case, the the way that college football is going, some people are unhappy. Jim Harbaugh wants to see some sort of revenue sharing brought into place so that athletes are compensated without it being this wild, wild west of NIL where people could just go get money however they want to do it. So there's always going to be this speculation as it relates to Jim Harbaugh when we talk about football. But here's the thing that I've always marveled at when it comes to Jim Harbaugh. And this isn't me hating on him. I'm not a fan of Jim Harbaugh. There's one particular incident that drives me crazy when it comes to Jim Harbaugh. And I've mentioned this multiple times. And as somebody who worked in the San Francisco market, I was actually privy to it, saw it happen in person, so to speak. And that was Jim Harbaugh taking the starting job away from Alex Smith, basically losing his starting job by virtue of injury. And this is when Alex Smith was playing really his best football with the 49ers. And he lost his job due to injury. And then Colin Kaepernick took over, and the rest is sort of history. We all know what happened from there. So I've always had a gripe because Jim Harbaugh, as a former quarterback, and understanding one of the most sort of sacred unwritten rules of football is you don't lose your job to injury. That was a thing then. And it sort of opened the door for this era where guys can and do lose their jobs now due to injury. It happens more than you think in the NFL. But to me, what I find most perplexing is the reality of Jim Harbaugh versus the perception of Jim Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh gets treated like somebody who's won a Super Bowl. He hasn't. Jim Harbaugh gets treated like somebody who's won national championships. He hasn't. Jim Harbaugh gets treated like guys get treated after they've won championships consistently throughout their career. If I asked most people, they'd probably think that Jim Harbaugh has won a national championship or a Super Bowl just because that's the way he's glorified around football circles. But the reality is he's won nothing. Not a single thing. Bridesmaid, never the bride. And here we are again, getting to that. We're not even into the start of the season yet. And here we are talking about, is Jim Harbaugh staying? Is Jim Harbaugh leaving? And again, has he done a nice job at Michigan? You can decide for yourself. Go look at the numbers. 10-3, 10-3, 8-5, 10-3, 9-4, 12-2. He's lost his last 4 bowl games. Let me repeat that for you. For the people in the cheap seats who can't hear me. He's lost his last 4 bowl games. How do you like that? And the way he kind of left the NFL this last time, Yet we recycle. This is what we do in sports. We recycle coaches. We recycle them over and over again. When there's great young up-and-coming coaches, we just can't pull the plug on some of these coaches that have had more than enough opportunities to win and are unable to win. I credit him. He did a great job at Stanford. Took that program as far as it possibly could. But okay, it's run its course. We've seen him in the NFL. We've seen him at his alma mater. What's next? Somebody's going to give him a job in the NFL. And I don't know if his shtick's going to work in today's NFL the way it did, say, a decade ago when he basically left the game, when he left the NFL. But I just think that sometimes we need to stop, pause, wait a minute, and address the reality versus perception. Because you would think Jim Harbaugh was this gigantic success. He's never won anything. Nothing. 2-7 in bowl games. And when you're somebody that's supposed to be as good as Jim Harbaugh, what else would you be judged by but your performance in bowl games? 2-7 in bowl games. Matter of fact, I'll go a step further for you. He's never coached a number 1 ranked team. He's never been number 1. ever in college football. Highest he's gotten to is 2. So forget even the idea of winning a national championship. He's never even had the top-ranked team. Now, you could say some of that is subjective. Some of that is, conferences and who you play and strength of schedule and all these fun things. But I just think it's important to point out on the start of this college football season, Utah's playing Florida tonight. We'll update you on what's going on there. There's what everybody thinks Jim Harbaugh is, and we just told you what he really is. A guy that's never won a single thing as a head coach, college or the NFL. And he's 2-7 in bowl games. Want to dispute it? Have at it. Sam Yarnell's coming up. Sports betting, fantasy, all that good stuff. Maybe I'll even throw out the phone number in case you guys want to talk about it. I'm Jason Page, the Cash In. We're just getting started on a Thursday. What is up? Hold on. I'm sorry, guys. Hold on. He's eating. Yeah. I fed him. Of course he's going to act like he hasn't eaten. He's a mercenary. He wants food. All right, Sam, you're up next.
I'm actually not really going to talk about, well, kind of. I'll kind of talk about betting this segment. But my main point is going to be how Major League Baseball has a waiver problem.
What? That's not sports betting. Can you give me anything? Can you give me anything sports betting related? I'm not saying don't talk about that, but
I'm going to tie it into how they need to make it more like fantasy football, and how when we play fantasy football, our drafts or our waiver orders reset.
Perfect.
And if the MLB had just done something, well, I'll get into. I don't want to do the show in the green room.
No. There you go.
There's and because of it, not doing the show in the green room. I gotta get my other computer. God, the amount of battery that doing this show takes between two computers is just shocking.
Oh, hold on. Let me see the back of that computer. Come here, Chung. Look at the back of his computer. That is great.
Oh, you want to hear the story behind this?
It's a Price is Right name tag. I love it.
So,
that computer looks worse than mine. Jesus.
Oh yeah, that's my computer from that computer got me through all of college. And then the one I'm doing the show through, I got when I graduated, in February. But the story behind that Price is Right name tag. How much time do we have? We got a couple of minutes still.
2 minutes.
Last time I was in LA, when I went out there with my ex-girlfriend, we stopped at. So we were staying with my family friends who live out there, and right when we got to the airport, one of the guys we were staying with was like, listen, there's this Price is Right promotion going on at Randy's Donuts. If you guys want to go over there, if you show your vaccine card, you get to spin the wheel.
What?
So they gave me a name tag. I got to spin the wheel, and I got a free donut just for showing my vaccine card. It was awesome.
That's awesome. All right, coming back. We are guestless tonight on the show, and I am okay with it because I got enough to talk about. And I don't believe in forcing guests. I just don't. So I'm okay with not having a guest tonight. Some people do guests just for the sake of having a guest, fill a spot, that sort of thing. I don't need to do that. especially now that we have 2/3 voices on this show with yourself, me, the great Sam Yarnell, who's coming up here in just a moment, the Prince of Picks, and Charles Carter, our intrepid producer, engineer extraordinaire, pushing all the buttons in Houston. It's like, I'm like the Dan Patrick Show. I got 17 people working on the show, it feels like. No, I'm never bashful about taking shots at people who have like literally an army of people working on their shows. I got 3 and I'm thrilled. 3 and it feels like I got too many. Watching tennis tonight. I got some thoughts to get into on tennis on the show tonight. I was watching Carlos Alcaraz winning straight sets shortly before the show started. And also John Isner played his final match. Well, singles match at the U.S. Open. He's still alive in doubles, but his career ends today at the age of 38, I believe. I interviewed him a long time ago in New Haven. So I got some thoughts on a couple little tennis things to throw into the show tonight as well. But every night at this time, every hour at this time, the one thing we like to guarantee you is some spin, tilt, angle, sports betting, props, fantasy, futures, all of that good stuff. It's a light night around baseball, so there's not a ton of live betting, although I'll make sure we jam it in there somewhere. But in the meantime...
And now the Cash In presents, it's Cash Cow, the Prince of Picks, Sam Yarnell.
Thank you, Chad Erickson. Sam, it's all you.
Jason, we will get into the live baseball board here momentarily. But
how about tennis live betting? Tennis live betting. Let's go.
All right. Well, listen, hey, if you've got one that you want to throw out for the people,
gonna do it.
I will gladly ride, but I don't know about me giving out any picks for the U.S. Open. Alcaraz to win, maybe, or Djokovic. He's really good too. Either one of those guys, probably a good bet to win either their match or the tournament, whatever you want. Major League Baseball has a waiver problem, Jason, and we need to talk about it. So, as I'm sure many listeners know who play fantasy sports, fantasy football, we're just about ready to get started with the fantasy football season. When you think about waivers in fantasy sports, when you make a claim, you automatically go to the end, right? It makes really good sense. You pick up a player, you go to the back of the line. And it's based on reverse draft order at the beginning, and then obviously, as claims are made, people fall to the back. Major League Baseball does not subscribe to this same waiver priority status, or I guess making a waiver claim for a Major League Baseball team doesn't impact waiver priority at all. We saw this, Giolito, Lopez, and Matt Moore all going to Cleveland. We saw Harrison Bader and Hunter Renfroe going to Cincinnati. Cleveland, a team with a .478 winning percentage. I believe I looked and that was 15th or 16th best in the league. So right around average. 5 games back in the AL Central. Currently 12-1 to win the AL Central if you think that the Guardians made the right moves in getting those 3 pitchers.
Still got some games. Still got some games left against the Twinkies too.
There's definitely room. It could happen. There's a reason it's not, 100-1. But if you think that those 3 players coming in off waivers into the Guardians pitching system, I would say make that bet right now at 12-1 for the Guardians to win the Central. Now, the Reds, a little bit different of a story, right? That Central, we can almost all guarantee that the Brewers are going to walk away with it. But they're only 1 game out of the wild card, are the Reds. So they've got a .511 winning percentage. It makes a little more sense for them in terms of the waiver claim. But the fact that both of these teams were able to get multiple players instead of Major League Baseball, I should say, subscribing to the type of waiver order that we do as, plebeian sports fans in everyday fantasy sports, we are sensible enough to understand that once you get one, you better go to the back of the line to wait to get another. Why can't Major League Baseball agree with us on that? Now, in terms of betting, it makes things very interesting, right? I think 12-1 is a really good number on the Guardians right now. probably a missed number. I think it'd probably be more like 7-1, 6-1 even. I would probably get in on that right now for them to win the American League Central. We'll see how the Twins do, injury problems all throughout, and that's a lot of reliance on Joey Gallo in that offense. So I like the Guardians to win the AL Central, but my real problem with this whole thing is, why can't reality be a little bit more like fantasy, Jason?
It's a good question. It's a very fair question.
Applies in more than just sports.
Trying to figure out what you mean by that. Just saying. Let the audience decide for themselves on that one, huh? Novak Djokovic is minus 110 to win the U.S. Open, by the way. Carlos Alcaraz is plus 185, and then everybody else is way the hell behind. Just in case you're wondering what we're looking at for this U.S. Open.
Got to be Alcaraz, right?
Well, Djokovic is the favorite. It's hard to bet against nobody.
Alcaraz, right?
No, doesn't have to be Alcaraz. Doesn't have to be Alcaraz. I got some thoughts on Alcaraz we'll get to coming up in a little bit. There is baseball going on tonight to update you on, and since there's so few games, we'll just throw out the live betting lines as they are right now. Giants and Padres, no score, bottom of the second. If you're looking at the live money line on that game. Oh, no, I'm sorry. It's now 2-0 San Francisco. Sorry. 2-0 San Francisco, top of the third. San Francisco is, well, it just went off the board. They were minus 310. It must be like a pitch in progress or something like that. But San Francisco up on the Padres, 2-0. Padres season basically on the brink right now, if not already brinked. Braves, Dodgers, no score while we wait for Giants, Padres to come back on the board. Braves, Dodgers, no score, bottom of the first, Chavez Ravine, minus 112 on the money line for both of those teams. Dodgers plus 1.5 at minus 205. Braves minus 1.5 at plus 158 on live betting. 7.5 is your total there. San Francisco now leading the Padres 2-0, top of 3. Giants are minus 600. Padres plus 380. Padres plus 380. Early down 2. That's kind of due. Yeah.
We gave out the Dodgers money line at plus money last night on the show right before we went off the air. And they're already minus money favorites now. And that line's only getting deeper. So I really hope that everyone else got in on the Dodgers when they could, because we're going to have a great game out there in LA tonight. And that total's already gone down a full run to 7.5. It skipped over the even 8.
It's 8.5 now.
We're back up to 8.5.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that, if you see that number get good on that under, I might go under 8.5. Because it's Strider and Lynn. And I know Strider hasn't been as hot as he was to start the season lately, but those are two pitchers who are going to go deep in this game and not give up very many base runners.
And that's it. Those are the only 2 games tonight. It's all we got to talk about. Got to be paying attention. I'll see it. So we'll be keeping an eye on those 2 games. As we see live betting opportunities, we will provide them throughout the evening. I mentioned I got something to say about tennis, and I'll get it out of the way coming up here in a couple of minutes because Carlos Alcaraz just won. I want to talk about that. John Isner lost today. It was the end of his career. And I swear to God, John Isner is John Isner, and he's somebody else. I'm going to explain what I'm talking about coming up here in a couple of minutes on the show. Isner is not just John Isner. I'll explain. It's actually a great tie into what we were talking about with Jim Harbaugh earlier. I'll explain. You're gonna have to stick around for that. Let me give out the phone numbers too while I have a second, because we do have phone numbers here that you could actually call and text and all that stuff. 800-224-2004 is the call-in number. 800-224-2004. The text line is open. We have an exclusive text line only for this show. 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549. From anywhere in America, anywhere at all. If you send a text, we will read it on the air. I got got a nasty email from somebody last night on the show. What were you going to say, Sam? We're about to go to break, but what were you going to say?
I was just going to say maybe we'll read it on the air.
Maybe. No, we'll read it. As long as it doesn't have any like F-bombs in it or anything like that. All right, couple of tennis thoughts to get to on the other side. Don't go anywhere. It's the Cash In. Good to have you with us. Why can't... Yep. You all right there? Charles? You okay? Oh, okay, I'm just making sure. God damn it.
Oh, so we don't have a 2-for-1 tonight, huh?
No 2-for-1.
Or what do you call it? Double dip?
No, it's just called the 2-for-1.
Oh.
Yeah,
right.
no, you had the name right. It's the 2-for-1. Really? What's your thought? Because the only way, because he can't hear you right now. The only way he can hear you through me is for me to press this button, and when I press this button, that's when double audio happens. Yeah. When you speak, you turn my mic off. Yeah, but the problem is he still can't hear you unless I push this button. Yeah, but he's coming through my board. So if you let's test it here. So I'm hitting the button, the double button, the button that So we have no way to test this. This is like, it's all theoretical. Okay. There's so many technical issues, and I love Sam to death, so this isn't like a slight on him or anything. There's so many new technical things that come into play with him being remote on Zoom. Even if we give him a Comrex, when we give him a Comrex, not if, because they're going to give him one. When he has a Comrex, there's still a whole host of issues. I don't know how I'm going to feed him. I've still got to figure out how I'm feeding him to video separate, because right now I feed his audio and video together through Zoom, which comes directly through my board. When he's coming through a Comrex on your end, how am I then feeding him? It's just a headache. It's just a massive headache. I think it'll work, but I'm not sure. That's exactly what I want. If you could figure out a way to do that, Charles, if you figure out a way to do that, because that's all on your end. If you figure out a way to do that, you'll be on the video stream and the audio stream. Or, well, I mean, you could still... Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like I said, it makes my brain hurt. It absolutely makes my brain hurt. Oh, I got to add college football scores to the scoreboard. I got to do that. Oh, my God. This girl, one of the U.S. Open players, is on an exercise bike eating sushi. This is great. I talk about this. Welcome back. Good to have you with us. This Thursday, August 3rd. I know you hear this from people all the time. If you turn on like your local news, it's already September. Like the weather person comes on to give the weather and they're like, it's already September. Can you believe it? You always hear news people say that stuff. It drives me nuts. But it really is crazy that it's already September 1st. That we've been doing this show a year and it's already September again in time for football season. That's kind of nuts. I was just watching the U.S. Open and they were showing one of the players was on an exercise bike in like the workout center. And she was riding the bike and simultaneously eating sushi with chopsticks. That's coordinated. Like I could eat with chopsticks. I don't know if I could ride on an exercise bike and eat sushi with chopsticks at the same time. I'd just be using my hands. Just digging in like that. Charles, have you ever had sushi? Okay, I'm just checking. I don't know if that was like your thing or not.
You think Charles lives on the moon?
I do think Charles lives on the moon. Yeah. He does eat sushi though. We can confirm. You don't like it at all? Yeah, I don't know if you can work on the show anymore. If I had like a death row meal, it would be like a toss up between sushi and a white clam pizza from Pepe's. Like it would be a toss up. Like I could eat sushi every day of the week. I would choose an uncooked meal as my last meal. Yes. Yep. And when I say it, it does sound kind of funny. Does sound kind of funny. But I like tartare. Like I've eaten steak tartare, which is like uncooked, steak. I could do that too. It's all right. No? I am a fun guy. Thank you. I appreciate it. Who does not want to see Avatar? I have zero interest in Avatar. Nope. Coming up in 15 minutes, what does 92,000 people watching a women's NCAA volleyball match in Nebraska say about the women's sports movement? And what doesn't it say? I'll get to that coming up. Couple thoughts that I just want to slip these in while it's fresh in my mind, because I didn't write anything down for this. This was sort of a late entry into the show. Two things. One, let me start with Carlos Alcaraz. Because anytime we get to the major tennis tournaments, that's the only time you'll hear me talk about tennis. It's the only time most people watch tennis is when the majors are going on. And I'm the first one that tells you, if you get an Alcaraz versus a Djokovic, back the way we used to get Federer versus Nadal, Federer versus Djokovic, Nadal versus Federer, Nadal versus Djokovic, that sort of triumvirate, if you will, which now has become a sort of a four-way thing with, in reality, it's still a triumvirate because you're looking at a situation now where Federer is out of the game. It's Djokovic, it's Alcaraz, and Nadal is still kind of hanging on. I think he wants to have one more run sort of on his own terms while he's healthy. And that's it. And you'll always hear me preach on this show. When you get an opportunity to watch those guys, Alcaraz, Djokovic, Nadal, play against each other, it's must-watch TV. You stop what you're doing because they are such special moments in sports. And as I was watching Carlos Alcaraz tonight, a couple things stuck out to me. One, when you watch somebody like an Alcaraz, and tonight he was going up against some guy from South Africa, with the last name Harris. I think his name was like Lloyd Harris. Wasn't that the guy's name in Dumb and Dumber? I don't know. But anyway, he was going up against some guy from South Africa, and it wouldn't have mattered what the guy's name was. Everybody there is there to watch Carlos Alcaraz, and you almost get the sense when you watch these matches of an Alcaraz or a Djokovic or Nadal at his peak that you're watching guys that are just playing against themselves. You can fill in the name that's going up against them on the screen, and it doesn't matter. It's like a jobber in wrestling. It's like back in the old days on Saturday and Sunday mornings, you'd watch WWF Superstars or Wrestling Challenge or whatever, and you'd watch, Don Morocco fight against Mr. X, and you knew that Don Morocco was going to win. Or you'd watch, whoever your favorite superstar was, and they'd go up against some guy who you've never heard of, who's some local jobber who just goes in there and his job is to get his ass kicked and lose the match. And it's kind of what tennis feels like when you talk about guys like Djokovic or Alcaraz. it has that similar feel to what we used to watch as kids with wrestling, with the jobber that would go in there and his job was just to go in there and get his ass kicked and look good doing it. And as I watch Alcaraz tonight, I kind of get that sense. But there was one other thing I thought of. Nadal had Federer, Federer had Nadal. Before them, Sampras had Agassi. You know, they all had each other. You know, and there were some other guys that won majors in there, you know, the Goran Ivaniseviches of the world, that sort of thing, who would slip in and grab a major. Michael Chang, that sort of thing. And now you're looking at Djokovic and Alcaraz. And with what we saw at Wimbledon with Alcaraz beating Djokovic, some people start to, you know, look ahead, project a little bit. Are we starting to near the end of the Djokovic era where he was kind of at this plateau of greatness at the top of the game? Have we started to see the slip towards the other side of the mountain, down the other end? And that may or may not be the case. But here's the one thing that I think about when it comes to Alcaraz. Who's going to be his other guy? Who's going to be his foil? Remember, he's only 20. Is that what we said? 20, 21? He's younger than Sam. I know that. And that's hard to do. As I watch Alcaraz, I'm left to wonder, is there a foil for him? Or is he just going to run roughshod through tennis? Because everybody seems to think, I think it's 23 Grand Slam championships for Djokovic at this point? 23, 24, whatever it is. If he wins, he breaks Margaret Court's record or ties it out. You know, all these different records that are out there that get broken and then broken by somebody else. But I watch Alcaraz, and as much as it's hard to project so far into the future of can Alcaraz, you know, be the guy that challenges Djokovic's record, as crazy as it will sound to say right now at such a young age, because you got to be good for a really long time to do what Djokovic has done, what Nadal did, what Federer did before that, what Sampras did before that. You have to wonder if there's going to be anybody in this generation that is capable of challenging Alcaraz, because right now there's nobody. He's at a level that is so far above what anybody else is doing. He's just playing against himself. If he wins or if he loses, it is the only person that can beat him is Djokovic. In any other match, especially if you go and look at it by the odds, Carlos Alcaraz will always be the prohibitive favorite because he's playing against himself. Cast that aside for a second. John Isner played his final match today at the U.S. Open in the singles competition. He's still around for doubles. He's playing with Jack Sock, another American, and Sock is actually retiring at the end of this tournament too. They both kind of came in together. It's great. Wonderful story. I'll read the book. Here's the thing about Isner. I want you to go and look up Matt Kuchar. Matt Kuchar, talented guy, he's 45 years old. He's played on the PGA Tour. He's made like $56 million in career earnings. Never won a major. Won a ton of championships, a lot of top 10s, a lot of top 20s, cashing checks, but he was never the best. And again, we go back to what we were talking about with Jim Harbaugh to start the show. The reality versus perception. Matt Kuchar's made a ton of money, $56 million in career earnings. Never won a major. And he won 16 times. I think worldwide. I know on the PGA Tour at least 16 times. John Isner, 9 career championships. A Wimbledon semifinal. Goes down in history for that match against Nicholas Mahut. 15 years ago, something like that, when they played at Wimbledon. The 11-hour marathon, which he's more well-known for than just about anything else in his career. But John Isner and Matt Kuchar are exactly the same guy. Guys who were just good enough to make a ton of money, cash big checks, long careers, but were never good enough to win the major. If we started a hall of really good athletes tomorrow instead of the Hall of Fame, those two guys would be the first two in it. Those would be the first two guys that get inducted into the Cash-In Hall of Very Good Players, because that's what they were. And there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that at all. But it's just kind of interesting to see. Those two guys, if you look at them by the numbers, Kuchar and Isner, they are exactly the same guy. And it's amazing their careers parallel each other so much because they really played in the same sports generation. Go look it up. I promise. You'll see it and you'll be like, wow, he's right. Kuchar, Isner. Look them up. They're basically the same guy. We're coming back. Talk about volleyball in Nebraska. Yup. I want that in the pod.
John Isner.
What'd you say? What'd you say? I'm sorry. I didn't hear you, Sam.
Oh, John Isner has played in the 2 longest matches in
Wimbledon.
major. Yes, they're both at Wimbledon, but in any major ever.
I'll tell you the other thing about Isner. He's a MAGA guy, hardcore.
Really?
Oh yeah, hardcore MAGA.
I just saw him. I think he was at the City Open this year. Maybe it was last year. One of the last 2 years, he was at the City Open here.
Hardcore MAGA.
That sucks. He's huge, dude. One of the most massive human beings I've ever seen in my life.
He's also a fantasy sports nut.
Really? Let's get him on the program.
I would love to. You want to know what part of the problem is for me? It's guest booking is very time consuming.
Really?
Oh my God, yeah.
I got a bunch of people who I'd love to have on the show if you want me to start asking people.
Listen, I will never, as long as you just give me a heads up before you start calling people, just in case it's somebody that I despise, but there are very few people like that. You're more than welcome to try and test your hand at guest booking. You have black books and all that stuff, right? Because I have those if you need them.
What do you mean black books?
Like, and what'd you say, Charles? Oh yeah. Do you do any guest booking, Charles? Really? For who? For the national shows? Oh, really? Yeah. Yeah. Wow. I didn't know you did guest booking because that's the one thing that just bogs me down is fucking booking guests, which is why I have a roster of guys that I go to, and that's it. Because I'm not going to fucking kill myself booking guests. It's just,
Yeah, man, I got a bunch of people who would want to come on the show. Bunch. I bet I could get Warren Sharp on the show.
Yeah, I'm not a huge fan of Warren. I know Warren, not personally, but like.
Oh, you do?
Like, yeah. Warren Sharp. It's been around a zillion years.
Which is weird because he's a young guy.
Yeah. I want to start the next. Oh, by the way, next hour to start. Last night we did who's the first quarterback to be replaced in 2023? Who will be the first head coach fired in 2023? We'll do that.
Great.
Yeah.
Love it. Love it. Love it.
Executive producer Jason Page. Here we go. Thank you, Chad Erickson. Good to have you with us all tonight on this Thursday edition of the show. week one of the Jason and Sam experiment. Sam Yarnell is our new kind of sidekick on the show, hanging out with us every night. Charles, our producer engineer extraordinaire in Houston, pushing all the buttons. I like Batgirl better. If you've never seen what Charles looks like, the thought of him in tight spandex, not that appealing. Not that appealing. Charles, you should put it. We started a group. I started a group chat today for the show with me, Charles, and Sam. By the way, I think I'm the only person that wrote anything in that chat. I just want to make that known. Yep, I'm definitely the only. Oh no, Charles wrote "Gotcha." Thanks, Charles. Boy, what a dynamic contribution that was. Dynamite drop in, Monty. But send a picture so Sam knows what you look like, because Charles is a big dude. Charles goes to Charles goes to NFL camps, like training camps, to go and like check out teams, and they mistaken him for a player. It's true. He was telling us the story. He actually was mistaken. He was actually mistaken for a player. They were like, "Sir." Yeah, slow your roll, dude. Slow your roll. Charles is a big dude, man. That's the guy when we go to like do a live broadcast somewhere and we bring Charles with us, you put him at the front and he just clears a path for us. Right? I think we could do that.
Definitely.
Charles could be that guy. All right. So they had 92,001. I think it was a crowd of 92,001. Three. Oh, so 92,003 last night in Nebraska for a Nebraska Cornhuskers women's NCAA volleyball match. It was the largest crowd ever to attend a women's sporting event. And everybody's making a big deal out of this. And it's a great story. It's wonderful. I'm all about it. You know, women's lib, man. I am there. Sign me up. I'm one of the biggest WNBA connoisseurs you will find in mainstream sports radio. I love it. I would talk about it more if, my listenership didn't go down to 0 when I did it. I love women's sports. Always have. But there is, I think, a very fair question to be asked about what this was last night and what it wasn't. And people will point to, well, it broke the record of the U.S. women's soccer, the World Cup at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena with all those fans watching. All right, let's talk about this wasn't, what it was and what it wasn't. What it was a spectacle. They took one of the largest stadiums and they took a successful women's volleyball program at Nebraska. They put it on a giant stage with the expressed intent of breaking a record. Let's not make it sound like this was some generic, homegrown thing where everybody's just, driving from all over the world and flying from all over the world to watch the Nebraska Cornhuskers women's volleyball team play against Omaha. Let's not pretend that that's what it was, because it was not that. This was a pre-orchestrated event, like a flash mob, only with 92,003 people, 91,003 people, whatever it was. What was it, 92 or 93? 92, 3? What was
92,003.
Thank you, 92,003. Doesn't roll off the tongue. I'm just going to say 92,000 for the remainder of this conversation. So you had this event, but it was all it was all, it was all orchestrated. This wasn't something that came up out of a root of, everybody wanting to clamor to see the women's volleyball team. Don't get me wrong. They draw very well on campus. That's great. But if they weren't trying to break a record, if they had just had this in some random stadium somewhere, that fits 92,000 people, 92,000 people aren't showing up. It was because everybody wanted to be part of an event. And the event was breaking a record. 92,003 people will be able to say they were at the event, the largest attended women's sporting event ever. That's it. When everybody went to go watch the Women's World Cup, they were going to watch the Women's World Cup and a great soccer team and a team on the precipice of history. Brandi Chastain, tear off your jersey. Show us the Nike sports bra. That is not what this was. This is not the same thing. So great. It'll have the mark in the record books and in the history books and in the minds of people. Great. This was nothing more than just a giant flash mob. Most of those people don't have the foggiest idea what they were even watching last night. It was an excuse to go out and be around their friends. Yes, Sam.
So, I actually disagree with you, Jason.
What?
And I know NCAA volleyball, not the first sport that I think any of the three of us, including Charles, sorry, Charles, to make this assumption about you, would watch.
Or second, or third, or fourth.
Maybe even the 10th.
Okay.
That said, the University of Nebraska is an absolute powerhouse and dynasty when it comes to women's volleyball. Their head coach, John Cook, has been the head coach for 23 years there. They've gone to 22 regionals in those 23 years. He's won 4 national titles. The school's won 5. And think about the stadium that this event was held in. It was in Memorial Stadium where Nebraska plays their football games. This was the University of Nebraska versus the University of Omaha in this volleyball game. The University of Nebraska over the last since 2018. Now let's go since 2017.
Sure.
Back in order. Record by a year. In conference, 3-6, 1-8, 3-5, 3-6, 3-6, 3-6. This was the people of Omaha, the people of Nebraska, Cornhusker Nation showing out to show that they still exist. They will cheer for a powerhouse team, which their football team hasn't been since probably 2012. I mean,
and they have the longest sellout, and they have the longest sellout streak in college football right now.
And what I'm saying is this was them putting themselves on the map when their football team can't, because we know that their football team isn't going to.
That's fine. I don't disagree with a lot of what you're saying. It still doesn't change the fact that the reason a lot of those people were showing up was because it was to be part of a spectacle. Not because it was some, celebration of women's college volleyball. I mean, people are going there to say they were part of a record. It wasn't something born out of some historic run, which the Women's World Cup was. This was born out of somebody saying, hey, we're going to try and make the largest women's. I mean, again, the sole intent of this was let's put on the largest spectacle in the history of women's sports. That's all it was. And now I will say what is interesting to note on this, and what might give you a little more validity to what you're saying, even though I disagree with you, what gives it a little more validity is on the secondhand market, there were tickets going for as much as $400 for this event. People wanted to be part of a spectacle, but it is interesting to note that there were people willing to spend up to $400 to go watch something, and I'll guarantee you 75,000 of the people in that stadium had no idea what they were even watching. Had no idea what they were even tuning into.
So I know we're up against it, but I got to get this in.
Sure.
518,000 viewers on the Big Ten Network for Volleyball Day in Nebraska. The most watched non-conference volleyball game in Big Ten Network history. This was a celebration of how good Nebraska has been over the last better part of 3 decades in volleyball. And the entire state showed out for it.
It's a great number.
It's a spectacle, but it's a deserved spectacle.
Sure. I don't disagree that it's a deserved spectacle. My only point is, like I said, they were doing it with the expressed intent of trying to just break a record. Whereas the women's soccer team broke it naturally It wasn't people saying, I want to go so I could say I was at a crowd with 90,000 other people watching a women's World Cup match. That was my only point. It's fantastic. Look, anything that elevates women's sports, I am all about it. That's the end of hour number 1. Another hour of the cash-in is right around the corner. Don't you go anywhere. SportsMap Radio, the SportsMap Radio app. You can put that in the pod too, Charles. So Harbaugh, the 3rd segment and the 4th segment. Why did he close this door? Why? Hold on a second.
That's good. Oh.
No. No. Yes.
You smell the mint and lemon. It's for the wardrobe to keep the food smelling.
Not musty.
There's one here, there's one more.
Burger King is facing a lawsuit claiming Whoppers are too small. Oh, we got to talk about this. We got to talk about this at the end of the hour. Burger King facing a lawsuit because Whoppers are too small.
I'm not going to say what I'm about to say because I'm going to save it for the show, but thinking something that you're going to react to.
Okay. We're coming back. Whoppers too small.
I'm into that Whopper thing.
Okay. Another hour of the show starts right now on SportsMap Radio. and the SportsMap radio app. Good to have you with us tonight. Flanked by producer, engineer extraordinaire Charles Carter, CC, and the one and only Sam Yarnell. I'm Jason Page. It's good to have you with us. You can watch us right now over on Twitch, Jason Page 77, over on X, formerly known as Twitter. If you want to do that, it is the back page. And on Facebook and YouTube, just search for The Cash In with Jason Page. It's all good. Fun stuff on the show. Coming up in 15 minutes, Sammy Arnell with some news you can use. Sports betting, fantasy, pick'em, futures, all of that good stuff. Coming up later in the hour, a fast food chain is being sued because their sandwiches are not big enough. Pequeño. We'll get to that coming up a little later on. Last night on the show, we did a fun topic about which NFL starting quarterback would be the first to be supplanted because of quality of play. And we had it narrowed down, I think, to Baker Mayfield and Sam Howell. Those were the two. And I think I threw out Mac Jones as a possibility as well. And you guys are still welcome to sort of weigh in on that if you want. But tonight's question, which NFL head coach will be the first to lose his job? And before you sit here and text me and say, that's so macabre, it's so mean, these guys have families, and it's so terrible when a coach loses his job, it's his livelihood. Yes, and he'll get paid out for years to come to do absolutely nothing or sit on TV where he makes more money. So I don't want to hear you. Save it for somebody who cares. These guys all get into a profession. They know what they're getting into. Nobody twists their arm to be an NFL head coach. It comes with the territory. That being said, who is the NFL head coach that is most likely to lose his job in season first? We'll open the floor. Sam, Charles, if you've got one as well, I'll be curious to see what you guys think. I mean, we could always say D'Amico Ryans. You're down there in Houston because God knows, and we know the Texans are just all about firing head coaches. They usually wait till the end of the year, though. And I think D'Amico Ryans is going to get a longer leash than the last couple of guys have gotten. Half kidding there. So if you've got a head coach, all right, somebody step up. What do you got?
Robert Saleh.
Well, hold on. Sam is going to say, Robert Saleh? No way.
Yes.
No.
Yes.
No.
Yes. And I got to start it out with a hot take, but it's got to be Robert Saleh. Come on. First of all, you heard it here first. Everybody listening, SportsMap Radio app, you heard it here first. The New York Jets are going to lose 5 of their first 7 games.
What?
They are. And that's when this discussion will start. And from there, however they do, is how Robert Saleh's career really will hang in the balance. If they can turn it around, then he'll be good for a couple of years. But I'm telling you, they're going to start 2-5. And after they do, I think they're going to start. If Robert Saleh can't turn it around quickly, like by week 12, they're going to have to do something because there's too much potential with that team. You've just got to blame the coaching if it doesn't go right. That's my hot take. That's my spicy.
I vehemently disagree. That team has hung on to bad coaches for a while before. So I would be surprised if Saleh was sort of given the gate that quick. I've got a guy that I'm thinking about. I'll give you the one that I'm thinking about. This is the Browns' schedule to start the year. Home for the Bengals, at the Steelers, home for the Titans, home for the Ravens, home for the Niners, at the Colts. That should be a 4-2 team, 3-3 at worst. If you look at that schedule, there's a lot of winnable games there. Steelers is winnable, Titans is winnable, Colts is winnable. I mean, that's 3-3 at worst to start. If they get out of the gate slower than that, if they're 2-4 going into Seattle on October 29th, facing 2-5, Kevin Stefanski could be a guy that's in trouble. 500 coach. They went all in on Deshaun Watson. The team has some talent. Lost a lot of games late last year. If that team comes up short through the first 6 or 7 games, I could see Stefanski being a guy on the hot seat. What do you got, Charles? All right. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Tampa Bay. But they suck. Baker Mayfield's their quarterback. They can't have high expectations. So if you're the suckiest of the suckiest in a sucky division, then you lose your job. That's what you're saying. Rivera could be, I've always thought, especially the way he handled Carson Wentz last year, that whole situation. I thought Rivera might have been out of a job last year. They hang on to him. They bring in Bieniemy. And I had an initial thought that maybe they were bringing in Bieniemy as almost head coach and waiting if it didn't work out with Rivera. But then you hear some of the talk coming out of the nation's capital as it relates to Bieniemy, the way he relates to players. He's too hard on him. And it almost feels like they're already setting him up, to be a scapegoat if it doesn't go well because he's too hard on the players. Those are a couple interesting names. I'll give some credibility to the idea of Bowles or Ron Rivera. I'm just scanning through.
Mike McCarthy staying in the NFC East. Mike McCarthy, why not?
I know we're on in Dallas 97.1 The Freak. Hello to our friends, our fellow freaks down there in Dallas. We love you guys. I gotta, everybody always likes to think that Mike McCarthy's on the hot seat. When was the last time Jerry Jones fired a coach in season? I'll wait. Again, reality versus perception. We all think of, Jerry Jones as the NFL's version of Vince McMahon. You're fired. We all think that's sort of the mentality, but it's really not.
You're fired.
But I don't think that'll be the case when it comes to McCarthy. I think he's going to get the season, and not to mention the fact that if you're assuming that McCarthy is on the hot seat, then you're assuming the Cowboys are going to be bad. I don't think they're gonna. I think they're going to challenge for the division.
Oh, you and everybody else. Come on. I'm so tired of this. No,
Cowboy Nation, let's go.
This is what everybody does. Every year we drink the Cowboys Kool-Aid, and what happens? They're 3-3 week 6. They're 4-4 week 8. They have a bye, and they're 7-6 week 13. They never compete. We got to stop with this. I'm tired of the Cowboy Kool-Aid.
I say this as a New York Giants fan. So this isn't coming from somebody who's some, eyes wide open, pie in the sky Cowboys fan. I don't like doing this until next week, because next week we're going to run through schedules and give you sort of W's and L's and do the thing that every sports radio show does before the start of the season and make predictions. Oh, my favorite activity. Charles knows. But just for the sake of argument, first 6-7 weeks for the Cowboys look like this. At the Giants week 1. Home for the Jets week 2. At the Cardinals week 3, there's a W. Home for the Patriots week 4, there's a W. At the 49ers week 5, probably a loss. And then at the Chargers week 6. 3-3? 3-3?
What did I say? 3-3 after week 6. Every season. Clockwork.
3-3 is...
Gosh.
They split the first two. Let's say they split the first two against the Giants and Jets.
Yeah.
right?
Yes,
I
agree.
think that's feasible. Although
Couldn't tell
last
you
year,
which one
let's
they're
be
gonna
honest,
win, but they'll win one of them.
let's be honest. Last year they beat the Giants, I think, both times, and one of them was with Cooper Rush at quarterback.
But that was a different Giants team.
I'm just saying.
I'm not high on the Giants. I'm higher on the Giants this year than I was last year.
Charles, you say what? Oh, it's always Super Bowl or bust. Listen, for Cowboy fans, it's Super Bowl or bust. Jerry Jones likes to pretend it's Super Bowl or bust. For Jerry Jones, it's just relevancy or bust. They just want to be relevant. Because indifference is worse. Because the one thing that's worse than being a sucky football team is being a football team that nobody cares about. If the Cowboys are 3-3, 4-2, 2-4, they're still in the conversation. If they're 1-5, then they just suck and everybody gives up on it. They just want to be in the conversation. That's always what it's about for the Cowboys. We'll continue this conversation after Sam Yarnell gives us some news you can use from sports betting and fantasy and the gambling landscape. I've got one of the greatest gambling stories maybe ever. All right, that's a little hyperbolic, but we'll get to that a little later on. Sam Yarnell shines when we come back. It's the Cash In. It's SportsMap Radio. That was a fun conversation. Put that in the pod.
It was. I was I was excited to throw that Salah hot take out there.
Oh, you're crazy. That's not a hot take. That's a not take.
No. For the Twitter viewers who will get to experience this now, I seriously, I think the Jets crash and burn.
Listen, I hope they do because I hate Aaron Rodgers, but I don't think
and everyone does, but
I'd be shocked.
The difference, right? And I get that historically, when the Jets, you're saying Rex Ryan without saying Rex Ryan, and that's fine. And I agree. The Jets have had bad coaches that they hang on to for way too long, that they let coach through, a bad period in their team's history. But when Rex Ryan was the coach, you'll remember that coming into every season, there was never really expectation for New York. The one time they did have expectation was when Brady got hurt. So when they have all this expectation around them in that media market, I just think there's a lot more pressure on Salah, and his leash is a lot shorter than Ryan's was.
Sorry, hold on. I'm responding to something. Somebody texted me Wade Phillips. Wade Phillips.
No way he's still coaching.
That's what he does. He coaches the Roughnecks in Houston. That's right.
Oh, yeah.
That's right. Rivera should have been canned immediately after publicly throwing his newly hired OC under the bus following a preseason game showed his true colors.
Yeah, I almost said something about that. He's also, what I should have said, and I wanted to say when you started talking about Rivera, is he's just had his foot in his mouth basically since he got to DC.
Yeah, every minute since he got there. Yeah, I got a couple of texts I'll hit here before we throw to you.
Take your time. I'm just going through live stuff. So
no worries. What'd you say, Charles? Yeah. Coming back. Here we go. What on earth is this song? You played this last night. I had no idea what it was. So they tell me this is Dinero by J-Lo. I feel like I need to shake my bonbon or something. Sad part is I don't even know if Sam's old enough to know that reference. That is so sad. God, it just pains me to make references. I'll tell you a funny story. I went into a what was the story? My husband will remind me. I went to a Champs Sports recently, and for point of reference, 1996, 96 or 97, I briefly worked for Champs Sports. I was like an assistant manager in Milford, Connecticut, and I worked at a Champs Sports. I worked retail jobs when I was a kid while I was getting into broadcasting and stuff like that. Because retail is one of those things easy to jump in and out of. So anyway, I walked into a Champs Sports maybe 2 weeks ago, and we walked in, and there was a girl using one of the folding boards that they use to fold clothes. They put these boards on a table, they put the shirts, wrap them around them, and they fold the shirts using them. And I walked in and I go, "Oh my God, I got PTSD." And she started laughing. She's like, "What?" I said, "I remember in 1996 working for a Champ Sports, and I used to fold shirts, and I remember those folding boards like it was yesterday." And my husband pulled me aside. It was like one of the, those Progressive commercials where they're like, "How you know you're becoming your parents?" You know those Progressive commercials with the comedian? Yes. Yeah. Where they're like, "How do you know you're becoming your parents? How do you fix it?" And my husband pulls me aside and he goes, "Honey, she probably wasn't even born in 1996. Like, she doesn't care about your story from 1996 working at Champ Sports. Like, just move on. All she wants you to do is buy a pair of socks and get out of the store. Don't bother this poor girl." And I was like, "Oh my God, I've become that person. I'm becoming my parents." Like something my dad would say when he walks into a store. It's terrible. Terrible. Texts, you guys send them to us. I read them on the show. Somebody sent me a text with the simple line, "Wade Phillips." I'm trying to figure out why. I don't know. But somebody said Wade Phillips. Oh, you know what? Was that from yesterday's show? No, it wasn't.
No, it would have been from the coaches segment, and maybe they were thinking we were talking about XFL coaches most likely to get fired.
Yeah, that's kind of weird. Not sure what the Wade,
or maybe Wade Phillips.
Oh, there we go. No. All right. I want to clarify. Somebody. Okay, thank you. The guest just clarified. Jerry in Louisville, Texas, texted the show and said Wade Phillips, to which I responded. I responded with, "Wade Phillips isn't even coaching anymore." And he said he was the one let go by Jerry Jones before Jason Garrett took over. Thank you, Jerry in Louisville, Texas. Thank you for clarifying. See, all of us just had an moment all together. Charles, you, me, we all just said, "Oh." Jerry, Louisville, Texas. Thank you. That's a good job by you. I should send you something for that. Because that's a good job. The other text came from, this one is in Gaffney, South Carolina. Hello to the 864 tonight. "Rivera should have been canned immediately after publicly throwing his newly hired offensive coordinator under the bus following a preseason game. Showed his true colors." I mentioned it. I mean, and Sam, you're right in the belly of the beast there in the nation's capital. So you've seen it firsthand. Rivera's been a train wreck since he got there.
Horrible. And the thing that the texter didn't even mention, and it's a great text, shout out to all of our audience texting in and giving us their opinions. But the thing they didn't even mention is the thing about Sam Howell from last season, when Rivera said, "Oh yeah, I guess we didn't realize how good he really was," after they put Howell in for one game, like I think it was 7 games into the season or something. Come on, Ron.
All right, it's that time of the hour, ladies and gentlemen.
And now the Cash In presents, it's Cash Cow, the Prince of Picks, Sam Yarnell.
He only looks a tad bit smarmy. Go ahead, Sam.
Just a slight bit. We usually look around the live board in hour 2.
It's pretty small tonight.
Wonderful second segment where we make you nothing but money, giving you all of the winners. But yeah, terrible board in baseball right now. Jason, 7-0 In San Diego, Giants leading the Padres. No way I want to get involved in this game. Giants laying 6.5 live.
Not even the total?
138 on that. Total's 10.5, top of the sixth. Padres offense can't do anything. They couldn't hit water standing on a boat right now. I don't know. Braves lead the Dodgers 6-1. Sorry I gave out that. There's a loser I gave out. Dodgers not going to win this game. Sorry about it. Don't want to get involved live. Braves laying 5 in the hook. Total 11.5. Kind of a dud night in Major League Baseball, Jason, but never fear. The Prince of Picks is here. I got something for you.
All right.
So, I noticed today on the FanDuel Sportsbook that our friends at FanDuel are hanging a player special in the American League right now.
Mm-hmm.
Shohei Ohtani to win the 2023 American League batting Triple Crown.
Really?
You can't bet the no, but the yes is 50-1. Now, let me tell you where we're at.
Okay.
He's got 44 home runs on the season. He's going to finish in first with homers in the American League. Luis Robertson second with 35, and Adolis Garcia behind him, 32.
So we
No
got
one's
that one.
catching him.
Ohtani's got that.
Got that one. Got it in the bag. RBIs. He's 2 behind the leaders right now. Kyle Tucker, Adolis Garcia tied at 97. Ohtani's got 95.
Okay.
Might be tough there, but a couple more homers, you never know. Batting average is the tough one.
Uh-oh.
Right? You got Seager, Diaz, Bichette, and then Ohtani. Now,
What are the
Corey Seager
average?
hasn't.
What's that?
So
What's
Corey Seager. So Corey Seager's at a 346, Diaz 327, Bichette 314, Ohtani 307.
Oh, there's no chance in hell.
Listen, hold on. Corey Seager is not a qualified hitter. Corey Seager has not amassed the amount of plate appearances per team game that are needed to qualify as a hitter yet. So, right now, technically, Ohtani's in third, behind Diaz at 327 and Bichette at 314. Now, can he make up 20 points of batting average on Diaz before the end of the season? I don't know, but at 50-1, I want to find out.
No, that's burning
50
money. Batting
50-1?
averages are not moving that much in September of a baseball season. It's not like Ohtani hasn't played in a lot of games. The batting average isn't going to move.
It's
Just
not
him.
like he's focusing on anything besides hitting right now. He's not pitching. All he's doing is hitting.
Why don't we do the line from Vegas Vacation? Just hand me your money, I'll kick you in the nuts, and we'll call it a day. Because that's basically the same thing.
Listen, winning is the best feeling in gambling. Losing is the second best feeling in gambling.
Sammy Arnell, ladies and gentlemen, we're not responsible if you lose the mortgage. There's the disclaimer. If you're living under a
Or if the wife
bridge,
kicks you out.
or if your kids like Dave in Connecticut, if your kids are eating ramen because you gambled away all the money. Last year we literally had Dave in Connecticut like feeding his kids ramen. They were eating ramen at like 11. They were eating ramen for breakfast because we were giving mediocre picks. Just saying. Fun times. Oh, by the way, there's 2 college football games that are live right now. Nebraska and Minnesota, 10-10, with 54 seconds left in the game. Nope. Minnesota with the ball in the Nebraska 37. Minnesota minus 184. Nebraska plus 142. It just went off the board. Southern Utah and Arizona State, late second quarter. Arizona State minus 26.5. They only lead 14-7. That's got a feel of Southern Utah. Plus 27.5. Close at the half. Teams don't know they suck early in the season. See, I'm the sucker. I'm the sucker that will look at that and go, oh my God, give me Southern Utah plus 27.5. No? Not touching it, Sam?
I mean, I'm not touching it yet. Listen.
Southern Utah, by the way, is plus 4,000 on the money line right now.
will be the first person to tell you that I don't know all that much about Southern Utah
Who
in
cares?
terms of college
Do
football.
you need to know anything? You think people betting on the WNBA know the WNBA? Come on. By the way, there's 2 WNBA games going on right now, too. I can give you numbers. We're out of time? What? It's the end of the segment? Damn. We're halfway home on this Thursday edition of the Cash In. Don't go anywhere. We got a lot more to do. Stick around.
I had to hit up
What'd you say?
a guy.
What'd you say?
I had to hit up a guy I know about this game so that I can say something educated about it.
What, Southern Utah and Nebraska?
Yeah,
Southern Utah
and
Arizona State?
State. I don't know jack about college football, dude. I don't know jack about it.
I have to tell you, then we both have work to do because I'm gonna pause the. Here. So next week, plan on a lot of, win-loss totals talk. I want to get into that.
All win totals.
Go through some schedules. Have some fun with that. I'm gonna, like I said, tomorrow. I'm gonna start looking at booking NFL guests.
Okay.
I wonder what game Kenny Albert has week 1. Kenny Albert's a friend.
Really?
Oh,
holy
I
crap!
get Kenny all the time,
Oh my gosh!
and he
it would be
never
an
says
honor
no.
to
I
talk to him.
love Kenny, and he never says no.
He has one of my favorite voices of anyone in sports.
Yeah, he's a terrific dude. Let's see. 2023 week 1. They have Jaguars Colts. Yeah, they got Jags Colts week 1. So let me see if I can get him for late next week. Thing is, too, though, what you have to remember is sometimes these people might only be able to pre-tape, and if that's the case, it's just going to be me solo. Because
Totally.
some people just can't do this late at night.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was trying, who I actually did try to get today was Jen Mueller. She does pre-post for the Seahawks, and she is she's the on-field reporter for the Mariners, and she's a good friend of mine. But because it was the Mariners off day, but she was in New York just hanging out in the city and didn't want to do anything. All right, coming back. Yeah. little AC/DC. Nothing wrong with that. Good stuff. Hanging out with my guys, Charles Carter, Sam Yarnell. It's a Thursday edition of the Cash In on SportsMap Radio and the SportsMap Radio app. We will be off on Monday for Labor Day. Executive decision. I was debating, did I want to be on the air? There's no baseball at night that night. And yeah, I know we could talk about week 1 of college football and preview the NFL, but we're going to have all week to preview the NFL leading up to the big Thursday night opener. And I think, yeah, it was kind of a 50-50 call, the idea of taking off the night or not Monday. But plus, it's Sam's birthday on Monday. You're going to be, what, 23, Sam?
I will be. Jordan year.
My dog is literally sitting under my feet, chewing a bone in the studio. So if anybody hears that, I apologize. That's literally my dog just hacking on a bone in the studio.
No dogs in the studio, Jason. Do you know how much manpower it takes on a nightly basis to keep my dog out of my studio?
What kind of dog do you have?
Still do it.
What kind of dog do you have?
She's a Heinz 57. She's a mix of all of them. We rescued her when I was in high school, and I love her to death. What about you?
I have a Puggle.
Oh, cute.
Pug Beagle. He's literally a 50-50 dog. He's 50% pug, 50% beagle. And he is my world. I've had him for 12 years. And he goes wherever he wants because he had a rough life before we took him in. He was being, driven around our neighborhood by some crazy crack whore in the back of a beat up Honda Civic. And he looked terrified. And she was like, "This isn't my dog. I found him chained to a fence. And I got to find a home for him or I'm going to bring him to a shelter." And I was the sucker that was like, "I'll take him." So I've had him ever since. He has terrible separation anxiety. He literally goes everywhere we go. We carry him around the grocery store in a backpack. Goes to restaurants. We only eat outdoors or restaurants that allow the dog in the restaurant. This dog's got the life, let me tell you. He's done 5 cross-country drives with me. Back and forth to Seattle 3 or 4 times from Palm Springs to Seattle. This dog is living his best life.
Well-traveled.
He is
a well-traveled canine.
This dog is living his best life, I can promise you. Let's see. I was just saying during the break, I don't often share aspirations to get guests on the show. We're going to go heavy on the NFL next week, though. Kenny Albert is a friend of the program. He's got Jaguars Colts with Jonathan Vilma. And I'm going to see if we can get Kenny on the show next week to preview that game in week 1, which is a really interesting week 1 matchup. Obviously, with Jacksonville coming off a win in the postseason last year, the continued development of Trevor Lawrence, what Doug Peterson has done there, obviously, and changing the culture coming out of Urban Meyer and the train wreck that was. And on the other side of the coin, Anthony Richardson, who everybody is so excited about. You heard Matt Verderam on the show last night with SI.com, their intrepid NFL insider, who came on the show and said he was really impressed with what he saw. Why were you smiling? What made you giggle?
I was just thinking about last night and how you said intrepid NFL insider this time when last night you said senior NFL insider incorrectly about 3 times in a row.
Yeah, you get senior on the brain because we talk to some senior people on this show. Lionel Messi is still the talk of the town. He is the hottest ticket in all of American sports. The Messi effect is 100% real. The game coming up for Inter Miami against LAFC is thought to be the most expensive Major League Soccer game ever. Let that sink in for a second. This is a league that's had some big players come through, David Beckham, all that stuff. Average prices for Inter Miami and LAFC right now, average prices are $690. Average prices. A 527% increase over the average ticket price of an MLS game, which used to cost $110 before Messi joined the league. That was the average ticket price of an MLS game before Messi came into the league. Currently, according to CNN, just days from the game, cheapest ticket to see Messi take on last year's MLS Cup winners, the cheapest ticket, $785. I mean, that's Super Bowl prices. Like, you can get Super Bowl tickets. You're looking at that kind of price for, like, the cheapest Super Bowl tickets. Without Messi, prices fall. Cheapest ticket for the following LAFC game, $151. It's staggering. According to TickPick, by the way. Messi's
Saturday night.
Yeah.
So this goes to the point of all the other MLS games are dirt cheap now. Saturday night, Chicago Fire at DC United here in DC.
Yep.
Tickets start at $25.
That's great.
The world is a business, Mr. Beale. It has been since man crawled out of the slime.
It's true. It's very true. It just, this goes to a much deeper conversation. I had this conversation with Robert Littal from Black Sports Online several weeks ago on the show about what people choose to spend their money on. And again, it goes into a much deeper conversation about the economy. And, all I hear is people are so dissatisfied with the economy. The economy in America is so bad and nobody has any money and groceries are more and gas is more and blah, 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 blah. But there are 40,000 people at Citi Field to watch a crappy Mets team, or 40,000 people at Yankee Stadium to watch a bad Yankees team, or 40,000 people at Busch Stadium in St. Louis to watch a terrible team. What people are willing to spend money on never ceases to amaze me. Because you can't tell me all these people are they're the 2% that the economy is good for them. There's a lot of middle class people that are going to these games and spending huge money to go to these games. Yet all I hear is this conversation about how bad the economy is. Yet and NBA arenas, they're sending attendance records. The Houston Rockets were one of the worst teams in the history of the NBA last year. They were filled to like 97% of capacity every night. Go look at the numbers. I'm not feeding you lies here. So people with a conscious decision of where they're going to spend their expendable cash dollars, whatever it may be, were choosing to go and watch a team that won like 17 games last year. How many did Houston win last year? Anybody know? No? It boggles 17, all right, something like that. But it just boggles the mind that these are the same people that say, well, the economy sucks and gas is too expensive, but I'm going to spend $125 to go watch the Rockets tonight. And again, look, I get it. Messi's a spectacle. We've never seen anything like this in soccer in the United States, ever. Nothing compares. There is no comparison. I mean, I don't know what the prices to go see Pele play for the Cosmos were, back in the 70s or 80s or whatever it was in New York at the old Giant Stadium. I don't know what the ticket prices were for something like that, adjusted for inflation, what they would be now. But I guarantee you they weren't set an average of the equatable of $700 for the cheapest ticket to go see Lionel Messi carve up a bunch of, second-rate international soccer players. And that's what this league is. Let's be honest. I had this conversation at the dog park of all places the other day with some sports fans who were talking about Messi this, Messi that. And then I said, yeah, but who's he playing against? I mean, would any of these guys even make a roster in the Premier League or in La Liga? I mean, are any of these guys even making it, onto a roster on those teams? I don't think so. It's fascinating. The Messi thing is fascinating. He didn't score last night. Inter Miami had its first game with Messi where they didn't win. It was a scoreless draw against Nashville. And they're going to need a miracle to make the postseason. But if anybody could help them pull off that miracle, it is certainly Messi, who had an opportunity late in that match last night. But was unable to put a ball in the net late in that match. But what a run it's been for Messi here early on. I mean, he's must-watch TV. Even for somebody like me who doesn't really watch soccer on television. I've been to 2 MLS matches in my life. One in Portland, the Timbers have great crowds, and one in Houston. A fast food chain, my favorite non-sports story of the day. A fast food chain is coming under assault. You won't believe why. Next.
So
what did Ronald Acuna do? Hold on. Ronald Acuna, grand slam, 30 homer, first MLB's first 30 homer, 60 steal season. He's got a shot at 40-40. He's got a month left. He could do 40-40. I wonder if DraftKings, nobody has a bet on that? Yeah, I hear you. I hear you, Charles. What's the matter? Charles? Well, I don't know. Charles was trying to talk to me. Charles, you there? What do you mean I'm not coming through? I hear everything. Let me disconnect and try reconnecting. Disconnect. Reconnect. You hear me now, Charles? I disconnected and reconnected. How about now? Charles? Charles, do you hear me? Huh. What happened? Did you press a pop? God damn. God damn. God damn. Stone cold. Stone cold. Stone cold. Beating them like a rented mule. I'm going to put up a poll. Retweet this poll after I put it up. Which NFL coach
As you wish.
will be the first to lose his job in 2023? God damn it.
No way. No way.
What?
Nebraska lost.
Really?
Really? Did Nebraska really lose? They lost. Ah.
Womp womp.
I got a cool tweet to read here about that Nebraska loss.
Okay. Which NFL head coach Ron Rivera. Who are the guesses? Ron Rivera. Who did I say? Todd Bowles was one. Who else? Who did I say? I said somebody else. Help me out!
I don't remember. God. I have a list in front of me, but that was a chicken scratch list that I made. And it wasn't one of these. Who was it?
Welcome back to the show. cash in continues. I'm telling you, my brains are mashed potatoes. Oh, man. Good to have you all with us tonight. I can't even put Robert Saleh as a choice in this poll. I can't do it because people
don't.
People will laugh me off the face of the planet if I tweet that.
Mike McCarthy.
I'll put Rivera, Bowles, and Mike McCarthy. And then 4 will be other. How's that? Okay? We all approve? Okay. Poll question up on our X, formerly known as Twitter feed. Look for me at the back page. My name on X is at the back page. The poll question: first NFL head coach to lose his job in 2023. Your choices are Mike McCarthy, Todd Bowles, and Ron Rivera. You got 24 hours You got 24 hours to vote. Get in your selections. We'll also have it up on the SportsMap radio feed. Sam, what's your name on? I haven't told people. What's your name on X?
I believe. Let me just. Yes.
You don't even know your own name on X?
There's a story, and I'll tell it here in a second. It's
Okay.
at Sam_Yarnell. At SAM_YARNELL. The story of why there's an underscore in there. And why I don't know my X handle, my Twitter handle.
Yeah.
It used to be just one word, Sam Yarnell. It was great. I loved it. I had it for a long time. I joined Twitter in 2012. And I had that handle the entire time. It was great. I had built, I probably had a couple of thousand followers. Awesome. One day I noticed that when I was 12 years old and I made my Twitter, I put in the wrong birthday because 12-year-olds weren't allowed to have Twitter. So my birthday was 2 years off. And as a 20-year-old or maybe a 19-year-old during the pandemic, worst time, I went in and I got bored one day and I went to change my birthday. It immediately locked me out and disabled my account and never gave me it back because it said that it figured out based on when my account was created, that when I created my account, I was not of the age that would let me have an account on Twitter at the time. So I lost my old Twitter account. This Twitter account I've had for the better part of 3 years, August of 2020. So my 3-year Twitter anniversary with this account just passed. Give me a follow over there. We're rebuilding the following, and I'm giving out winners all the time. So at SAM_YARNELL on X, formerly known as Twitter.
There you go.
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore.
That would be me if I got locked out of my account. I've had this Twitter account going back probably about the same amount of time, about 12 years. I think 2011. I launched this Twitter. And I am lucky to have a name like
2009.
I am very lucky to have at the back. 2009? Okay. At the back page, I am very lucky to have that. Although there are people, if you don't know anything about anything, you wouldn't know this, but the back page is like a naughty classifieds thing. So there are people who sometimes I get hit with things thinking that I'm the naughty classifieds. It's kind of like a naughty Craigslist sort of thing, the back page. That is not what I am. The reason mine was called the back page was I hosted a show in Hartford, Connecticut for 3 years, Afternoon Drive, ESPN Radio Hartford. And the name of the show was called The Back Page with Jason Page. So I was known as the back page. I used to talk to people, and the name The Back Page was so synonymous around Connecticut. I would go to restaurants and people would be like, "Hey, Back Page." They wouldn't even say, "Hey, Jason." They'd be like, "Hey, Back Page." Stupid. Deep breaths. So, I am a fast food fatty. I had Little Caesars today for dinner. Pizza, the official pizza provider of the NFL, by the way. Yes, I do. Thank you very much. I never get sauce on a pizza. I don't do sauce. It's just cheese, bacon, and onions. Yes, Charles. I feel Charles chiming in. What's the matter? I don't like the sauce on a lot of pizzas. I'm just not a big fan of the tomato sauce. Alfredo? Hell, who puts Alfredo? Really? Seriously?
You're fired.
You're
fired.
Absolutely. That's it. It's over.
You're fired.
Alfredo on a pizza. I've heard of it. I wouldn't do it. I've also heard of pineapple on a pizza. I wouldn't do it.
You're fired.
I mean, come on. I mean, I've tried. No. I've tried pizza with Alfredo on it. It's terrible. It's awful.
I think this is one of the traits of a really good producer. Keep the talent happy.
I agree. Alfredo on a pizza. My favorite pizza is a white pizza with clams. White clam pizza. Pepe's Pizza, New Haven, Connecticut. It's one of the top 5 or 6 pizza restaurants in all of America. You could do the research on it. That is not hyperbolic. That is fact. And they have a white clam pizza there that is to die for. The reason I tell this story and we talk about fast food here, Burger King is being sued. I actually had a coupon from my friends at T-Mobile for a free Whopper, and I forgot to use it. Burger King is facing a lawsuit, and judges have agreed it has to go on, claiming the Whoppers are too small. A U.S. judge has rejected Burger King's bid to dismiss a lawsuit claiming that it cheated hungry customers by making its Whopper sandwich appear larger than it actually is. I guess they're size queens. U.S. District Judge Roy Altman in Miami said Burger King must defend against a claim that its depiction of Whoppers on in-store menu boards mislead reasonable customers, amounting to a breach of contract. Let me just say this. How many of us watch TV and see like a commercial for McDonald's double quarter pounder or the Big Mac or whatever, and it looks so amazing and tasty and juicy? And then you go to you go to an actual McDonald's or a Burger King or any of these places, and the thing is sad. It's filled with oil. The bottom bun is just falling apart. I don't know why restaurants can't get the bottom bun right, by the way. I just want to put that out there. You ever seen the scene in the movie Falling Down with Michael Douglas? One of the great scenes in the history of movies. Michael Douglas goes into a restaurant. He's like, "Look, on the board, it's this gorgeous sandwich, and you just handed me this awful looking thing." Every fast food restaurant does that. If I had known that I could sue and make like tons of money by suing a fast food joint because the sandwich doesn't look anything like I thought it was going to look like, I would have been a millionaire years ago. Instead, somebody thought of it and actually did it. Customers in the proposed class action accused Burger King of portraying burgers with ingredients that overflow over the bun, making it appear the burgers are 35% larger and contain more than double the meat than the chain actually serves. Burger King says it looks like exactly like the picture. And a judge actually said, this is what we're spending time on in our courthouses in America, folks. The judge said it was up to jurors to tell us what reasonable people think. Can I be on that jury? Can I be on the jury where they're just showing us Whoppers and we've got to decide if it looks like it does on TV or on the screen?
I don't know, Jason, but I want to be on the jury that's trying you and Charles for your choices in pizza. Hold on. We're pushing the Burger King story to the next hour. Let's go back to this. Pizza without sauce is cheesy bread with toppings. And pizza with Alfredo sauce is a weird take on pasta with bread on the side and you take out the pasta. What are we doing here? The two of you need to be on trial for this. Come on.
Kangaroo court, I guess.
Jeez Louise.
Charles says he isn't advocating for Alfredo pizza. He was just saying if I tried it. It's like the guy that says, I'm not saying, I'm just saying.
Exactly.
He's basically being that guy. He had to have had Alfredo somewhere on the brain on the pizza in order for him.
He knew it existed.
He knew it existed. Yeah. I think Hawaiian pizzas, no offense to our friends in Hawaii listening, because we are on in Hawaii. no offense, but I think the Hawaiian pizza is just a travesty. It's a disgrace. I love you guys in Honolulu listening to the show, wherever you are in Hawaii. We love our peeps there. I got friends there, but pineapple on a pizza, oh no, that ain't happening. Final hour of a Thursday cash-in is coming up.
Holding up the threes.
Oh, it's gross. You know what I've had that's interesting? I've had pineapple with salt, like a little sprinkle of salt on it, is really good. I had never done that before. A friend of apparently it's a big Filipino thing.
Oh, interesting. I've seen salt put on pineapple, obviously watermelon. Everyone puts it on watermelon, and cantaloupe. It's also good on cantaloupe.
Really? I haven't had cantaloupe in a while.
I feel like that's a big East Coast fruit. Probably don't get a lot of those out west. Huh?
What, cantaloupe?
Yeah.
You can get cantaloupe anywhere. I can get it anywhere.
Okay.
Let me tell you the one fruit in your lifetime you don't want to eat. Durian. Do not eat. It smells like old dirty socks. It is the most disgusting fruit in the history of mankind. And it's native to Singapore. So
that's where I've had it.
Yeah,
I've had it in Chinatown.
It's native to Singapore. And the first time I like nearly, there's actually a YouTube video of me somewhere eating durian ice cream that we made one night when I was about 50 pounds lighter than I am now. I almost look like I'm dying. Seriously, if you want to see it, go look for like Jason Page eats durian on YouTube. If you want to see like what I look like skinny, that's the video to look at. One time we gave it to our dog by accident, and he like had a poop explosion all over our apartment in Brooklyn. It was really gross.
You remember the name of the person who posted the video?
I gotta find it. I gotta look. I think it's on my. I have.
It's not on Alan Schrenner's
No, I'll find it though. Okay. Wait, you're not doing the food segment? That food segment was fun. I want it, man. Let me see. What are your TV shows of choice, Sam? Do you like Walking Dead at all? I'm a Walking Dead nut.
No, I never got into walking. Dude, I'm such a loser. I just watch sports, man. I watch sports and sports documentaries.
You're so me at 22. Jesus Christ. You're so me at 22. Fuck.
Yeah, it's all I do.
I hate that you're me at 22, because if I can go back and tell old me at 22 something, I would tell him, don't just watch sports every minute of every fucking day.
I try. Like, I got really into Suits. I just finished Suits like last week or something, and that was one that I was on for a while. But yeah, I can't get into the mainstream TV, man. Can't do it.
Where is this video?
Well, and now we're getting all the mainstream crossovers into like actual TV, like Winning Time on HBO. I ate that up. I love Winning Time.
The hell is my...
God, I might need to start doing wardrobe changes.
There's a video of me getting...
That I'm sweating.
There's a video of me getting a base hit off of Jim Leyritz in a Red Sox-Yankees charity baseball game.
That's sick.
Yeah. Oh, me throwing the first pitch at a Bridgeport Bluefish game. That was a celebrity first pitch. Me taking batting practice from that same baseball game. I don't know where this video is. Me and the durian.
What's the name of that place?
Hold on, coming back. Hold on.
Oh, yeah.
All right. hour of a Thursday/Friday. Oh, okay. Sorry. Works better when the mic's on, I guess. Final hour of a Thursday/Friday edition of the show. Friday. Good to be hanging out with all of you. SportsMap Radio. SportsMap Radio app. What a bad loss by the Yankees today, by the way. I didn't even get a chance to get into that yet. Terrible. Text from South Carolina. Alfredo sounds good, somebody said. Oh, no, it just does not. Can't put that on a pizza. Kidding me? See, somebody's crushing me for putting up a poll about which NFL head coach will be the first to lose his job in 2023. See, like I said, everybody gets mad when you start to say, "Oh, who's going to lose their job?" Well, it's prediction time. That's what we do this time of the year. So far, the early polling: Ron Rivera 21%, Todd Bowles 38%. That apparently is producer Charles stuffing the ballot box. Mike McCarthy 17% and other 24%. That's what we got so far. You're stuffing the ballot box, aren't you? Pat in Connecticut says if I'm taking an other candidate, Mike Vrabel could be a dark horse. It's an interesting one. Bowles is probably the pick, though. Bowles is probably the pick, though, unless Dallas somehow starts like 0-3 out of the gate. Tweet coming in from, let's see. No, those are the two so far. So hit us up on the Twitter/X. We got the poll question up there now. Which NFL head coach will be the first to lose his job in 2023? It's so macabre. How can you say that? It's so terrible. These guys making millions of dollars are going to lose their job, and you're playing a game out of it. And shut up. Good Lord. Makes me crazy. Yeah, Yankees had a terrible loss today. They're down 3-0 in the ninth, doing nothing offensively. Anthony Volpe comes up, 2 outs, 2 runners on. He gets me all excited. I'm sitting here watching on my phone in the kitchen because we don't have a living room couch yet to sit there and watch on the television, so I got to watch stuff on my phone or sit here in the studio and do it. And Volpe makes history for the Yankees today, by the way, for those that don't know. First Yankees rookie to ever go 2020. About them apples. But Volpe comes up, 2 outs, 2 on, 9th inning, and does something pretty amazing. Take a listen.
So Volpe a chance now as the tying run. First and third, 2 out. Yankees down 3-0, top of the ninth. Volpe drives that in the air to right field and deep. Carpenter back, racing over, and that is gone! A 3-run homer for Anthony Volpe to tie the game with 2 outs in the ninth. Number 20.
Ryan Ruocco, the call. And by the way, I'm not a small Ryan Ruocco fan. I am a huge Ryan Ruocco fan. That dude is the future voice of the New York Yankees. When Michael Kay finally decides to walk away, which couldn't be soon enough, Anthony Volpe, Ryan Ruocco will be the play-by-play voice of the Yankees. He's just terrific. So Ruocco calls Volpe's shot number 20 on the air. So everything looked great, tied at 3, Yankees with all the momentum. They go to the 10th inning of this game. Top of the 10th, Yankees have a runner on second to start the inning, of course, the ghost runner. Aaron Judge comes up to start the inning. What's he do? Ground out to short. Doesn't move the runner. Next batter flies to left. Batter after that strikes out. Inning over. 10th inning, bottom of the 10th for the Tigers. Gleyber Torres, who has been so good for the Yankees lately, having himself a hell of an offensive season. Ground ball, flip to Torres for 1, goes to throw to first for a double play, throws it into the stands. Game over. Detroit wins. Just awful. Just an awful loss. And I get it. The Yankees won 3 of 4, but they can't afford to lose any games. Terrible. So no Frank Sinatra today on the show as a result. Even Sam was left to text me last night, this afternoon, because he knew how upset. Did you have money on the Yankees?
No, of course not, Jason. You, sir, were the one who came on the show last night when we were looking during the second segment of the final hour, as we do every night, at the lines for the next day. And I said, what an interesting spot for the Yankees, going for the 4-game sweep of the Tigers. And I believe that the Yankees were only like minus 120 or something. And you were adamant that it was time to get in on the Yankees. But I had a feeling this was going to happen. I had a feeling all good things, they come to an end, Jason. And I don't even know if you could call anything about this season for the Yankees a good thing. But that was a thing, and it had to come to an end.
By the way, I enjoyed watching the U.S. Open on ESPN tonight, but it's a good thing I didn't have Charter Spectrum cable systems, because apparently there's a dispute going on right now, and this carriage dispute between the nation's second largest cable TV provider and Disney. ESPN's among a number of Disney entertainment channels that have now gone dark on Charter Spectrum. In the middle of a U.S. Open match tonight, they pulled ESPN. It was like a Heidi moment.
Monday Night Football season.
Yeah.
Wow.
It's crazy. Apparently, there's already some tension on ESPN between Pat McAfee and Dan Orlovsky, and I am here for it. I'm telling you, man, this Pat McAfee thing was never going to last. It's never going to last, man. Unless ESPN just completely throws all decorum out of the window. Unless ESPN just completely throws it all out the window. They know what they're getting. So I don't know why anybody would be shocked at this sort of story. But apparently there's already issues between Pat McAfee and Dan Orlovsky. Orlovsky, who's always on ESPN's NFL Live, SportsCenter, he was a calling guest yesterday on Pat McAfee's show. It all started good, with McAfee wanting to know where's the Dan wagon heading. Basically, what does he plan to talk about on NFL Live? Then McAfee brought up Orlovsky's involvement in the promotion of the upcoming Denzel Washington film, The Equalizer 3, in which the ex-quarterback is seen in a commercial with Stephen A. Smith. In it, Smith mocks Orlovsky's most infamous play during his NFL career when he ran out the back of the end zone for a safety when he was with the Lions in 2008. Then Orlovsky gave McAfee and his panel of hosts one guess of who his celebrity lookalike is. After a few guesses of Beetlejuice, likely referring to Michael Keaton, Wesley Snipes, and Billions star Paul Giamatti, the answer was actor John Krasinski, best known for 13 Hours, A Quiet Place, and the Amazon streaming show Tom Clancy's Jack Ryan. And then things went south. All you guys are talking like you're tens, dude, Orlovsky ranted on the show. You guys hit me with Beetlejuice and Paul Giamatti? McAfee then suggested Orlovsky's lookalike is actor Paul Walter Hauser, the 36-year-old known for Richard Jewell, I, Tonya, and for having a role in Netflix's Cobra Kai series. All right, have the dump button ready here. Charles, just in case this goes south.
Did you get to talk to Denzel at all?
No conversations with Denzel. No.
What the hell?
Are you in the same place as him, or was that shot?
Probably.
No, that was like I don't what a cute computer generated. Like they.
Come on! I thought there was a chance you actually get killed by Denzel in that whole thing. Good acting. That's great acting. That's great acting. How about this big guy here that played Aussie Rules football, sitting right 4 feet from you? Do you think about crossing him a little sideways or what?
He wasn't there either. It was just Stephen A. and I.
What?
Everything else is the actual.
What is real? Hollywood and their tricks.
Bro, they spent $3 million on this thing, and it's not in the movie. This is just a promo.
Did they really spend that much money on it?
You're telling me everything's computer generated? What are we talking about? The tech had to go something pretty bananas. That budget.
I think it's like the way they had so many different cameras there. I think it's a relatively, because they were like computer generating the shot almost live. Like we were able to see it as it's being shown as the promo almost live. So I don't think it's, that difficult for them.
This guy's acting with a monitor.
Unbelievable.
So good.
Wow.
It's very difficult.
Like that right there. How is that?
Bro, the emotions that you were showing while talking to a TV screen, now that we're learning, truly remarkable. You're a thespian. You're a real thespian.
Yeah. I feel like you guys are mocking me per usual.
Oh my God. Are you kidding me?
No.
Say something nice to this guy.
Bro, you're in a fucking piece of content.
Well, there's the F-bomb. See, there we go. That's why we have dumb buttons ready. And that's going to be the problem for McAfee, by the way. When he goes on to ESPN, it's only a matter of time before he starts dropping these F-bombs. And it just gets out of control. It got worse from there. McAfee said, last time I come on this show, McAfee reportedly tried to reach out to Orlovsky to apologize. Orlovsky went on social media and said, last time on the show. Great start. I knew there was going to be an F-bomb in there. That's why I told you. That was the F-bomb. Yeah, there was a little time. There was a little bit of. What? We're in break.
That's what I thought. I just didn't know because I didn't hear you throw it to break.
Yeah, I did. Oh, you don't hear the music, so you don't.
Right.
Yeah, that's true. Hold on 1 second. I want to see something.
I can't describe.
Sorry, who was it?
What's so funny?
Yo, who said Wesley Snipes?
That was
Who
AJ.
said Wesley Snipes? Is that Boston Connor?
No.
No, it was AJ right there, right to your face.
He actually said Beetlejuice, so if you knew who that is.
That was not good.
A little further off.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Who do you got? Who is it?
Nah, dude, I'm not saying it now. I'm not saying it
Can we
now.
get a hint though? Can we at least get a hint?
Reynolds, Gosling, who is it?
Skinny Jonah?
Ethan Hawke.
Probably Gosling.
Brad
Probably
Pitt
Ryan
because he
Gosling.
eats and talks at the same time.
Ethan Hawke.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. The whole eat chips
Who's the actor from? I think he did like 13 Hours. I want to say, and then he was also in The Office.
James Franco.
Krasinski.
John Krasinski.
In your
Fuck
dreams,
off,
Orlovsky.
Are you
Yeah.
kidding me?
right.
Go to
Connor.
hell.
I see it, Dan. I
More
see
like,
it.
hey, look up Paul Giamatti.
Boom.
Paul
And you're welcome,
All
by the
you
way.
guys are talking like you're tens, dude. All you guys are talking like you're catches.
No, we're not.
no.
Man. We're just letting you know that. Yeah, I can see it.
I see it. I see it a
Come
little bit.
on.
I can
I see it, man.
You guys hit me
fan
with
right there.
Beetlejuice,
Not me.
Paul Giamatti.
That's a compliment of the highest order.
Both of those huge
In the
compliments.
90s. Wesley in the 90s.
Who's the guy? Richard Hell.
Richard Gere.
Oh, Paul Walter Hauser.
Oh.
I don't know who that is.
You son of a bitch.
All right, I'm done with it. We appreciate you. This is run its course. We've got everything we needed. Who's winning? Who's winning the Super Bowl right now, Dan?
The Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah.
Wow.
Nice.
Maybe you do look like Krasinski.
Oh, here we go. Yeah. This guy's he was at the ESPYs.
Zoom in on his face.
All right, I'm out, dude.
What?
I'm never coming on
What are
this
you
show
doing?
again.
Why?
I'm never coming on this show again.
I didn't say the ball. Look at the face. Oh,
Wow, he hung up on them.
Highest order. I wish I got PW.
Wow.
Yeah.
He hang up.
Wow. It got worse than what we played. This was the end of the call with Orlovsky and the guys on the Pat McAfee show. Take a listen to this.
Look like Krasinski.
Oh, here we yeah. This guy's he was at the ESPYs.
Zoom in on his face.
All right, I'm out, dude.
What?
I'm never coming on
What do
this
you
show
do?
again.
Why?
I'm never coming on this show again.
I didn't say the body. Look at the face.
And that was it. He hung up. He hung up on McAfee. Wow. Good for him. And I don't even like Dan Orlovsky, but you know, those guys, man, you start doing stuff like that, you start alienating people. Good for them. I had a tit for tat with McAfee once on social media. It's just we continue to see outlets that produce content for the lowest common denominator. That's what McAfee's show is. It is. There's nothing intelligent about it. Not that, by the way, not that everything has to be intelligent or highbrow by any stretch of the imagination. But it's just, yeah, it doesn't do it for me. You know what does do it for me? Sam Yarnell does it for me.
And now the Cash In presents, it's Cash Cow, the Prince of Picks, Sam Yarnell.
It's that time of the hour where Sam Yarnell shines and tries to make you some money in the process.
Yeah, Jason, we actually ended up having ourselves, well, we don't quite have ourselves a game out in LA, but 8-4 Braves and Dodgers. Dodgers trying to come back in this one. Currently plus 770 on the money line if you are ever so interested. Let's go ahead and look around at the board for tomorrow. One day game tomorrow afternoon. Cubs and Reds. Not at Wrigley. Great American Ballpark. Graham Ashcraft. Jordan Wicks. Pretty even line here. Minus 106 for the Reds. Minus 110 for the Cubs. I don't really know if I want to touch that. Total's 9.5, even juice both ways.
Tastes like chicken.
Marlins and Nationals at 7 o'clock. Your boy will be in attendance for that one. And no, I'm not touching anything, but I can't wait to talk about the game afterwards.
How do you not bet on a game you're going to? You have to bet on a game you're going to.
I'll bet on it, but I'm not going to touch anything right now. I'm not going to touch the money line or the total. I'll probably get involved with some hit props. I'll probably throw together a couple of parlays. I know for a fact that I will be getting involved on CJ Abrams to steal a base, because that is one of my favorite bets right now that I just throw money at blindly, and it's returned better than it hasn't. We're up money using the blind throw system since I believe the All-Star break when he started to really steal bases. So
Am I right?
we'll get
am I
involved,
right?
but we're not going to touch the money lines or the total in that one. 8.5 with Yuri Perez and Jake Irvin. See, my problem with that matchup is Perez and Irvin are the opposites of types of pitchers, right? Jake Irvin, he's pretty much going to give you the same start every time. Yuri Perez either going to be really good or really not, and there's not really an in-between. I don't want anything to do with that game. A game I do want something to do with, because the line's pretty good right now. Rays and Guardians in Cleveland. Tyler Glasnow, Cal Quantrill under 7.5, currently plus 100. Lock me in for that one. I'll take that. First pitch 7-11 in Cleveland tomorrow night. Mariners and Mets, Gilbert and Senga. Probably safe to take the under there, but it's a low number, 7. Don't like taking whole numbers on the total. I want to win my money or lose it. I don't want to push. Pushing's for bullies. We're not bullies. That's pretty much it. All the rest of it, I'm sure we'll get into on the show tomorrow, because we got a lot of 8 o'clock start times on the East Coast,
Nice.
which means they'll be wrapping up right about the time we get started here on the Cash In.
Don't forget, you can still get the Yankees at plus 100,000 to win the World Series.
And don't forget, if you're doing that, you might as well set your money on fire.
But if the you put like $100 down and you can win
$10 billion.
Look at that. Come on.
Yeah, you put $100 down, you can lose $100 real fast.
Just saying, man. That Yankee run's coming. It starts with Jason Dominguez and Austin Wells tomorrow making their Yankee debut in Houston against the Astros. Let's go.
This is the problem that the rest of America has with the New York Yankees fan base. Embodied Jason Page, ladies and gentlemen. Cool college football game tomorrow night. Miami and Miami. This one in Florida. Ohio traveling to Florida.
What's
Miami,
the line?
The home team. Canes laying 17. Total 45.5.
That feels low.
I'm tempted to take the Canes in the over. I'm thinking the same thing.
Yeah, that number feels low.
Canes in the over there. Not going to touch Central Michigan, Michigan State laying 14 in the hook. Louisville and Georgia Tech. Louisville laying 7.5 as a road favorite. Maybe Georgia Tech and the 7. We're getting a key number there at home. And then late night, we'll be on the air for this one tomorrow night. Stanford and Hawaii. Stanford only laying 3. 55.5 the total. High total. Out west. Way out west in the middle of the ocean tomorrow night. But, Jason, it'll be a fun day tomorrow. And then we got FIBA World Cup coming up in just a few hours. 3.5 hours till we get tipped off between Serbia and Italy. Serbia only laying 9.5.
With Luka?
Maybe
is Luka playing?
Maybe a spot to get in there. I don't know if Luka's playing. I will look to see. But with Serbia laying 9.5, you've got to assume that he is, right?
Yes, you do.
I guess they've also got, who else do they have? They have Nikola Jovic, right? Yeah, Serbia's an interesting team.
By the way, Arizona State up 35-14 on Southern Utah. So that got out of hand quickly. It was 14-7 Arizona State late second quarter. Now it's 35-14 Arizona State. Lay the 28.5 live if you want. 57.5 total. Oh my goodness. Wait a second. That can't be right. This says, how much time is left in that game? It's 35-14 Arizona State. Hold on. We got to check this because this is interesting. It's 35-14 Arizona State on top of Southern Utah. And 57.5 is the total right now over on FanDuel, the unofficial sports book of the cash-in. Unofficial, why? They don't pay us. How much time do you have left in that game? This says start of the third quarter. That can't be. That would make no sense from a
Southern Utah and Arizona State. They're in a delay right now. They're in a delay.
Interesting. Weather delay? In Tempe? Seems odd. Okay. Try and figure out what's going on with that. Because that's a weird one. Did you see Aaron Rodgers says Jihad Ward is making stuff up? This whole thing that was on Hard Knocks. If you haven't seen it, go and look it up. It's just the Jets are just going to be the story you just get a feeling that every week coming out of Jets camp and out of Jets practices and Jets games, it's going to be a different story every week. And this is, I'm going to tell you, this is the most fascinating part of this Jets Aaron Rodgers thing. Aaron Rodgers has played his entire career in relative obscurity relative to how big of a star he is in a place like Green Bay, where the media is just largely going to capitulate to his ego. You know, you're not going to get the kind of questions post-game in Green Bay, Wisconsin. No offense to our friends listening in Appleton and Green Bay, and I know we're on up there. I love you guys. But there's no way you can tell me he's getting the questions in Green Bay that he's going to get in New York on a day-to-day basis by that press crew. And right now, it's the honeymoon phase. It's great. Everything's lovey-dovey. Everybody loves each other. The sex is great. Everybody's having a good time. But the reality is, once that honeymoon phase wears off, if the Jets get off to a slow start, the tough questions start coming. Now, if they're 2-4 after week 6, and they start asking, hey, Aaron, did you anticipate it being like this when you came over from Green Bay? He starts getting salty. And then the back pages, pun not intended, start to get there in the New York Post and the Daily News and Newsday. You start seeing them pop up on ESPN all the time. and Pat McAfee can't rescue him like he does every week on his show. I'm telling you, man, it could go south in a hurry. You know, they're talking about, like, I saw a quote today from Rodgers talking about, you know, we're in the talk for the Super Bowl. Dude, you play for the Jets. Just be happy to get to the postseason. Just, if you could even sniff a Super Bowl, be happy. This is the Jets. Just feel like Jets are being set up for another heartbreak. Don't you? We're coming back. Yeah, because this says start of the third quarter on my thing.
Yeah, they're delayed at halftime. It is a weather delay. There's a huge storm.
But it's 35-14 and the number's 57.5 with a whole half to play.
Because it's pouring down rain. It started pouring down rain.
You don't think somebody's going to score 9 more points in that game?
The book doesn't, so no, I don't.
That's crazy.
I might even go under.
No. Somebody's scoring 8.5 more points by accident. What did I talk about again? First segment, though, what did I get into? I don't know, written down. Well, second segment was the betting stuff with Sam. That's too current. We don't need that for the pod. Yeah, no, we don't need to do that. Nope. Is this game not on, really? No, I guess not. I was looking to see if this Arizona State game was on, but it's not. Wake up call. Blinded by the light. Blinded by the light. Whoa, it's 8-6 now in LA. Yikes.
Under is dead as a doornail.
Welcome back. Thursday/Friday edition of the show. Ronald Acuna Jr. making some history tonight in Los Angeles. Let's tell you about that.
Ronald hammers this to left center. That ball is history. And Ronald Acuna Jr. just made history. He has Major League Baseball's first ever 30-60 season, and he does it in grand fashion. And Atlanta has a 5-1 lead. And oh, by the way, it's only August 31st. What a milestone for Acuna.
Dude, he's got a shot at 40-40. And you were talking about player prop bets like specials on FanDuel. I wouldn't be shocked if you wake up tomorrow and there's a 40-40 bet on Acuna available.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
I'm surprised there isn't one yet, that there hasn't been one. Because this has been the conversation for a while now. Talk of him going 40-40. And by the way, that Dodger game was a blowout. What was it, 8-0?
7-1.
It was 7-1. Now it's 8-6 in the eighth. Braves offense is just something to behold, man. 8-6, bottom of the eighth. Still a big hill to climb. You could talk, look, man. You could talk about guys that are deserving of MVP consideration, and I know now. Well, Acuna's not even the favorite now to win MVP in the National League, right? I think it's Freddie Freeman now.
It's tough. I can't bet on that in Virginia. So
I'll look it up. I'll pull it up. Don't worry. Don't go crazy. This is.
No, Acuna's still the favorite. Acuna's the heavy favorite.
Oh, it was Mookie. That's what it was. It was Mookie that had been, but Mookie is coming up hard. Acuna is minus 155 and Mookie is minus 105. And that was a much bigger spread previously. Acuna on the year now is 336. Wow. If not for a rise, you'd be talking about him as a potential Triple Crown guy.
Yeah.
Acuna's 336, 30, 83, and 61 steals. When was the last time anybody had 61 steals in a season even? He's got a chance to go 40-60, which would obviously be 40-40. He's still only 25 years old. Keep that in mind. And he's got a brother who's going to be coming up soon, Luis Angel Acuna, who the Mets got, if I'm not mistaken, in a deal with the Rangers. And Luis Angel Acuna is supposed to be really good. And then they have another one, Brian Acuna, who's in the Twins organization. And I know Brian, I actually have autographed cards of both Luis Angel Acuna and Brian Acuna. That's how I know the both of them. But wow. It's not even close in San Diego tonight. Matter of fact, it's gone final. Giants beat the Padres 7-2. So the only game remaining on the docket is the Dodgers and Braves. What was a 7-1 game is now 8-6, bottom of the eighth. Acuna Jr. Grand Slam. Mookie Betts, who is chasing Acuna down, also doing things.
Betts hits a fly ball the other way that sends Acuna back. He's running out of room. He's gone off the top of the wall. Back and forth. These big dogs go. A 3-run home run. There's a lot of hope in this fly ball. And Acuna Jr. doesn't stop his retreat. He has to leap and just misses it. One gets a granny. The other one gets a 3-run job.
Dodgers Sportsnet, the call. Boy, oh boy, Acuna just missed Robin Betts of that home run, too. Whew. Good stuff. 2 home runs tonight for Mookie. 38 on the year. So you got a battle of 2 MVPs out there with those 2 teams going toe-to-toe. I tell you what, by the time we get done with that weekend, and again, whether it's fair or unfair to decide these things, now and, we're kind of into the final month of the season and, how they do against each other head-to-head. They're not playing against each other. It's not like Acuna's pitching and Betts is hitting. But there's a real good chance that coming out of this weekend, voter sentiment in this National League MVP race could be altered by what happens between these two guys this weekend. By the time we come back on the air Tuesday, because we'll be off on Labor Day, by the time we come back on the air Tuesday, this National League MVP race could be flipped. It could absolutely be the other way. 155 and 105 is not a big spread between those two guys. Wow. Braves lead 8-7, bottom of the eighth. Dodgers just scored a run to make it 8-7.
Mm-hmm. Wow. Kind of regret not getting in on the Dodgers at plus 770 now. But
what a game.
To answer your question from before, last time we had a 60 stolen base guy in the major leagues was 2017. It was D. Strange Gordon, but he had 60. The last time we had more than Acuna has right now was D. Strange Gordon in 2014 with 64. Acuna's probably going to surpass that. He might even surpass. Yeah, he might even surpass Juan Pierre, who had 68 in 2010. I don't think he'll get all the way to Jacoby Ellsbury, who had 70 in 2009.
You don't think he's at 61? You don't think he can get to 70?
I guess 9 in a month. That's not
crazy.
So Jose Reyes would be the one that he couldn't get to then. Jose Reyes had 78 in 07.
Mookie, 318, 38, and 98. Who you betting on? Who would you, if you were betting right now, which one would you put money on for MVP?
Freddie Freeman.
What?
Look at the number.
I know. I see the number, but the number is the number for a reason.
You're going to give me 30-1 on Freddie Freeman, who is by most metrics has been the best hitter in the National League since the All-Star break with a month left. Yeah.
But you can make an argument that he and Betts hurt each other and Acuna winds up walking away with the MVP. And we've seen this many times in baseball history when you've got two guys on the same team that are in the MVP conversation. I mean Olsen is kind of a distant fourth. You want to make the argument he's going to take votes from Acuna. I don't think it's the same thing. But what are you sending me here, Sam? Contract extension talks between
That wasn't me. That was
not Sam. Charles. I meant to say Charles. Sorry. Contract extension talks between the Bucks and Mike Evans have produced no progress, seem to have reached an impasse. Evans is in the final year of his contract, and this season could now be his last in Tampa Bay. Well, I mean, that team's so bad.
Where's
Mike? I know, but I'm just saying that's how Mike Evans is going to finish his career.
Yeah, but listen, Mike Evans is about to make a mistake that far too many people in football's history have. He's about to play longer than he should, and he'll play his way out of the Hall of Fame. If Mike Evans retires right now, he's a Hall of Famer. Look at the numbers. They agree with me.
Is he a Hall of Famer?
He is.
Really?
He is. All of the numbers agree with me. The rings are there. The All-Pros are there. The Pro Bowls are there. The touchdowns, the yards, the receptions, the target share. It's all there. He's a Hall of Famer. Maybe not first ballot, but he's a Hall of Famer. I'm worried that he's going to join some, terrible team trying to chase a bag for 2 or 3 years. He'll be horrible and play his way right out of the Hall of Fame.
I'm just looking at the numbers to see if I agree with you on this. I mean, he does have definitely the numbers are in that conversation. Yeah,
they're all right there.
Fifth, only 5 players in NFL history to record at least 10,000 receiving yards, 75 touchdown catches in his first 9 seasons. I mean, the numbers are there. It's interesting because I know, because when I think, again, when I just say it out loud, Mike Evans, Hall of Famer, I'm kind of wishy-washy on it. And usually when I say so-and-so Hall of Famer, it just rolls off the tongue and it feels natural. But I'm just not convinced.
I want to see. I want to see how many Texas A&M Aggies are in the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
It's a good question. I'm sure some of our listeners in Texas would probably know that answer. By the way, if you guys want to text the show, reach out to us. Go for it. 888-670-8549. 888-670-8549. Sam will see if he can find out how many Aggies. You got about 20 seconds. Go.
1, Yale Larry.
That's it?
That's it.
The name is Yale, as in Yale University, Yale Larry?
Defensive back, class of 1979. 5 all NFL selections, 50 interceptions, 9 Pro Bowls, and 3 punting crowns.
Well, there you go. Dynamite drop in, Monty. We're coming back.
He's not the best color man in the league for nothing, folks.
Huh. This is really cool. I've never been on the Pro Football Hall of Fame's website before.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's very, very, very useful.
Really?
It's got all of his stats from every year. It's got his enshrinement speech, a video of it and the transcription, a career capsule. Texas boy Yale Larry, born and died in Fort Worth. I love Stan Verrett. Tell me you know Stan Verrett.
I do.
Do you actually?
Here's the funny story about Stan Verrett and I. Never met. I liked something of his on Twitter. He liked something of mine. He followed me. I followed him, and now we have slid into each other's DMs. And he only because he lives in LA, he's actually looking at buying a place in Palm Springs, and he's a big golfer. So he said next time he's out here, we're going to play golf. Yeah, I love Stan.
That'd be awesome.
I love Stan. Awesome. He's such a pro. Dude is such a pro.
Stan Verrett and Neil Everett, the two of them are, I will say this forever.
That's really good.
The reason I wanted to talk about sports professionally. The two of them made it so fun, man. And
good choice. Yeah, no, I love Stan and Neil. Neil's gonna be.
What was that?
That was Spindrift.
What flavor though?
That was what flavor was that, babe? Mint green tea.
Ooh, I didn't even know they made that.
We didn't either. We just picked it up tonight for the first time. We drink 2 flavors. Mojito, which is just the greatest. But this one might be a close second now. Mint and green tea is really good. We just were introduced to Spindrift recently, and we're like addicted to it now.
I'm addicted to their grapefruit.
See, we don't like the grapefruit that much.
Really?
No, we don't. We're not big fans of the grapefruit. Let me tell you, that stuff flies off the shelves here in Palm Springs. Like, it's hard to find.
I'm sure it flies off the shelves in the entire state of California, just like avocados and toast.
Who's this a promo for, Charles? Oh, this is the David Gow show? I've never heard a promo for it before. Wow. 8-7, bottom of the 8th. Last call, we're going to give it to the Tigers for the walk-off win against the Yankees. It's an interesting thing on Mike Evans, though. I would not have thought of him that way.
Most unsuspecting Hall of Famer.
Getting set to put the wraps on this baby. We're back with you tomorrow, 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific, on many of these same SportsMap Radio affiliates, the SportsMap Radio app as well. And if you aren't watching us, well, you don't know what you're missing. Get to see the handsome, charming Sam Yarnell and my old grizzled, weathered face. Larry Brown's Sports. Going through Rachel Nichols, who, by the way, did you see her around with Skip Bayless the other day? Yeesh. They're just pulling every rabbit out of the hat to save that show right now. They're taking anybody with any sort of name power and putting them on there with Skip Bayless. They had Rachel Nichols and Keyshawn Johnson on together. They might have well just called it an ESPN reunion. Like, oh my God, what are they doing? I don't understand. So we all know the story about James Harden wanting to be traded from the 76ers. Mad about the contract situation. Rachel Nichols of Showtime spoke with Harden, or spoke about Harden's trade demand on Thursday. She was on FS1's Undisputed with Skip Bayless. And she says the reason Harden initially wanted out of Philly is that he no longer wants to be the number 2 option on the team. Wow. I'm going to tell you, I have said this before and I'll say it again. There's a chance James Harden doesn't ever play in the NBA again. Because the talk is the team that makes sense for him potentially is the Clippers. And if that deal doesn't get done, I don't know where else he's going. He still thinks of himself as the guy from that game 1 or the guy from that game 4 against the Celtics, Nichols said. He thinks he should be leading the show. The reason why he wanted out of Philadelphia in the first place is that it's the Joel Embiid show right now. He wants a different role. According to Nichols, Harden believes his 45-point, 42-point performances against the Celtics were proof he is still capable of being the centerpiece of a team. But what about the other games in the series? Are we just going to gloss those over? It's like, other than that, Mrs. Lincoln, how was the play? I mean, come on, Jesus. Oh, God. The rest of the series, he was hot garbage. I'm telling you, man. Some guys got a warped sense of what they are, who they are. And Harden's one of those guys. Look, it only takes one team to make the Sixers the right offer, and he winds up playing somewhere else. And we talked about this with Kurt Heelan of Pro Basketball Talk at NBCSports.com, who's a frequent contributor on this show and guest on this show. And he says it may take a while before they can get a deal done. Like, this could go to the trade deadline where they just send him home and say, wait until we find a team to work out a deal with. And yeah, Charles. Thank you. That's absolutely right. 9 points in 41 minutes in Game 7. By the way, Ben Simmons is ready for a comeback. Isn't this that time of year? Every time this time of year, we hear Ben Simmons is ready for a comeback. My old buddy Mark Spears over at ESPN's Anscape. Hall of Famer Mark Spears, by the way. Congratulations. Talking about his readiness for a bounce-back season, how he still loves Philadelphia. And if he can get traded anywhere, he'd like to go back to Philadelphia, Ben Simmons says. Can Ben Simmons ever be? He's still really young. Like, if there's ever a guy that could be a reclamation project, a comeback story, couldn't it be Ben Simmons?
Yeah, but Philly's never going to take him. You saw how they reacted when Brooklyn was there. You saw how Ben Simmons was whenever he had to go back, right? He wouldn't even come out and sit on the bench. Come on. Ben Simmons is never going to play in Philadelphia again, just like James Harden is never going to play in Philadelphia again. I'd bet you that James Harden never plays in LA again. I would bet you that he plays for someone that you'd never expect. You know what I mean?
Like what?
Because,
like the Wizards?
Well, yeah, listen, don't get me wrong. I'd love nothing more than to have James a part of the DC family. But no, because I think that this becomes a pettiness competition. And the Sixers, when they realize they're not going to get anything from the Clippers, because the Clippers know the predicament they're in, the Sixers just ship him off to whoever will offer them the most, no matter how much it, disintegrates the non-existent relationship they have left with James Harden. He'll end up on the Orlando Magic or something.
By the way, Las Vegas in the WNBA is 31-6.
Oh, they're unstoppable. Asia Wilson is one of the best basketball players on the face of the planet.
It's incredible. What a season they're having. 31-6.
It's them and the Liberty and nobody else. That's what the WNBA is.
You're forgetting one team. Connecticut Sun. Watch out for the Connecticut Sun, man. That team's got some ballers. Like, I am a homer. I'll buy it, but they're in the mix every year. Vegas is minus 155 to win the WNBA championship. The Liberty are plus 145. The Connecticut Sun are plus 2,300. That's the third.
There it
Connecticut's the third best odds. You want to talk about value bet, though? My God, the Sun at plus 2,300. Third best record. They're 25-11.
Why isn't it the Wings at plus 2,700?
Because it's the Wings. Their name is the Wings. Come on, Jesus. Give me the Wings.
Give me the Mystics at 42-1. Elena Deladon's taking us to the ship.
Oh my God, I thought you were about to swear there. I was like, whoa. Scared me, Sam. Atlanta's plus 21,000. Bet on the Dream at plus 21,000. You know how much you win if you bet a lot on them?
$10 billion.
$210 for every dollar.
Or this much.
$8,737,540,000.
It's great. Tomorrow we will do some sort of college football preview. I'm going to work on a guest for that. All NFL next week as we get ready for week 1 of the NFL season. Maybe we can look ahead, take a peek at some of the lines. Never too early to take a peek at some lines tomorrow. Look at some NFL lines. I'm pumped. I can't wait for the start of the NFL season. Do you have Sunday ticket?
Yes, I do. Diehard Bills fan living in the D.C. area, so I've had it my whole life.
Mike McCarthy on Trey Lance's first week with the team. Very hardworking. That's like saying she's got a great personality. It's like saying, how was that date? Well, man, she's got a great personality. I'll do you one better, Charles. Ready? There you go. All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's about that time of the show.
It's about that time of the night. Time to turn out the lights. It's last call on the cash-in.
This just kills me. But we like walk-offs for last call. Tigers fans haven't had a lot to root for this year. They're 60-74. I still do think the Tigers' best days are ahead of them. I'm not going to say they're the Orioles when it comes to prospects, but they've got some good young guys, both on the roster now and coming down the pike. Today against the Yankees, 3-3 in the 10th. It wasn't the most glamorous way to win a game, but a win is a win.
Broke his bat back to Loizaga. He'll throw to second for one. The relay up the line. Tigers are going to win it. What a way to salvage the series.
Wait a minute. They're going to replay whether he interfered with it. Going right to the bag. I don't know. I don't think so. It's a good job by Parker. There's no question he had intention of getting to that bag. He's trying to avoid him. It looks like he slid short.
I mean,
they can call this either way.
Here we go. Here's the call. Tigers win.
Tigers TV with the call. For Sam and Charles, I'm Jason. We'll see you back here on Friday on the Cash In. Bye. Thank you, Charles. Talk to you tomorrow, brother.
Thank you, Charles.
I don't think so. We got plenty in the first 2 hours. I don't need the podcast to be 17 hours long. Thank you. All right, we've disconnected from Charles. Let me say bye to the video audience. Everybody, thanks for watching. That's Sam. I'm me. We'll see you back here tomorrow. 10 p.m. Eastern, 7 p.m. Pacific. SportsMap Radio, the SportsMap Radio app, all of our video platforms. Have yourselves a great night.